Good evening, one and all. Welcome to Weekend Live by another name. I didn't really have anything prepped. I was editing something else that you guys might see tomorrow over on Cody Leach's channel. But we're here to spoil Alien Romulus. You've been warned once again, even though there's a crawl on the bottom there telling you that you should be bailing. Hello, everyone in the chat. How are you? Hope everything's well. Again, another warning. But you're getting like an abridged version, or maybe an opposite of abridged version, because you're getting show business a little early, but we're going to strictly focus on Alien Romulus. Joining me, as always, for show business at least, to my screen right is Lindsay.
Hey ho, I'm here to talk about people screaming in space, but you can't hear them.
Oh, and Gray's not on screen, but we've got the jar here. Gray, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here, and yeah, apparently my camera's broken, which is great. It was just like one frame every 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It was odd, so I hope this is less jarring, so to speak. But
it's completely jarring.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I don't want to jinx anything, but the lid.
The FPS seems to be working on this now. So what the hell? So if I just have my camera on, is that going to be working now?
Don't jinx it. If you say it, it'll recognize. The duck will be activated.
Have you tried hitting your webcam with a hammer yet? I found that actually sometimes.
It's on a list. Yes, I want to.
Last resort. You don't want to, when there's other things to try.
Crawling Chaos, how are you? I like Romulus. Third favorite Alien movie.
No, that makes sense. The best Alien movie is Resurrection. The second best is Alien versus Predator Requiem. And then the Romulus. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get some spice going in this chat.
Today a holiday?
Is it?
I mean, it's a Saturday.
Is there a reason that fireworks would be going off right now? Or maybe New York's under attack and I'm just purgatory?
The USA is pretty awesome. Why can't you be patriotic year round? Dog's barking.
It's a very they know, they hear it.
I think they hear the fireworks now.
Hey Bob, how are you? So unfortunately we don't really have a dissenting opinion here, so I'm gonna spoil more than just a movie here and say that I really enjoyed it, and I expected it to be just actually I hoped for it to just be something pedestrian, because the more I watch and or think about Covenant, the more I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. And I really liked Prometheus.
I was gonna say that's weird because you really liked Prometheus, right?
Did.
So
the problem with Covenant is they try to give you all of everything. Some of Prometheus, some of Aliens, and they don't really do enough of either, in my opinion. I think David's perhaps the strongest character, not named Ripley, up until now. But the more I would go back and watch it, it just feels like an abandoned plan where I really liked where Prometheus was going, and oh well. But having that expectation, Romulus was fucking awesome. Like really awesome.
Yeah. We still might have some spicy takes. I may like some things that people don't like. So I don't know. Even though we agree, we might not agree in the same fashion.
Oh, yeah, I have some things that are certainly not flawless. That's for sure.
No, this movie's not flawless, but it's better than I hoped. Again, it's not perfect, but man, I guess I was hoping for so originally this was going to be released as a Hulu movie, and just right before production, they had decided it will be a theatrical release. So I was kind of expecting kind of like Prey, where it's like that. It also exceeded my expectations, but it didn't seem like huge budget or anything like that. This, I don't know, man. The production on this just surprised me. I was not expecting what we got here, and I think he hit the tone and the production just spot on. This is what I want out of an Aliens world.
The practical stuff was incredible.
I knew from the trailers that I was going to adore just looking at this movie, because it's sets. They're there's real things. You can touch them. It's like, it's real. And it made the movie just so much weightier, and just kind of it made things more grounded. And they're really, it's worth the effort. It's worth the money.
Plus,
it pays off. Yeah.
As an actor, Lindsay, isn't it easier to do something when you can actually see the thing that you're interacting with?
Yeah, I mean, yes, theoretically. I personally, no, yeah, it 100% is. You watch the making of documentary of like The Hobbit, where Ian McKellen has a breakdown because he's just in a green screen void, or Ewan McGregor just kind of looking around, being like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be looking at right now. Like,
look at the blue space or the blue wall.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you see where the little light bulbs are? That's where the head is. Just look there. That's your point of reference. Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it. And this movie is pretty goddamn great. I got some spice I'm gonna throw on there. But yeah, it's pretty great.
I think there's some like allspice that could probably be thrown around too. So some of the memberberry stuff just doesn't work as far as I'm concerned. And there's one.
So much of it does. Like,
yes.
I don't know. I understand what you're saying.
I
think we will agree on at least two of them. But
yeah, I enjoyed like the visual, like giving us shots from Aliens, like the gun thing. Like, it's not like really shoving it down your face, but if you know what you're looking at, you're like, oh, fucking right on. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And like certain viewpoints, I think they covered the entire franchise visually without really telling you, which cool. I'm all about that. Please, more of that without telling me, get away from her, you bitch, please. You could just show me that you know.
Why didn't they just... Okay, so that line specifically, why did they add you bitch on there? Like, if they just said get away from her, that's a callback, but it like totally works. And it's like, just say that. Like, okay, cool. But I don't know. So many people, I've heard mixed reactions to that. I've heard a few people that really do like that. That like he's searching for the words, he can't find it, and then he just comes up with you bitch. But that's the one that did not work for me.
The synthetic that's loaded with dad jokes is got you bitch on standby.
Okay, but that calls back to 2 as well. Like Bishop had some pretty bad dad jokes, and
I love the dad jokes.
Like 2 of them.
I adored Andy, like one of my favorite characters in this entire franchise. I utterly adored him. I love the dad jokes. I wanted more dad jokes, if we're being honest. Like as he was dying, I wanted him being like ripped apart and just like saying one last dad joke or something like that. Like that would have been, I mean, obviously he didn't die, but I thought that would have been a great death.
Well, they used a different take, because like the take they wanted was when he says you bitch, he actually pulled up a dog and winked into camera like, bitch, get it?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know, like people might have groaned when he said you bitch. Like audibly several people around me groaned. It was kind of fun. It was
yeah.
And it could have almost worked if you because he's like coming tumbling down the shaft at her. Like if he like tackled into her, or not her, into the alien, he like grabbed onto the alien. And he's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" And it's like a really quick thing like that, But like the fact that it was so staged, and it took him so long to say it, and it was so forced. It almost felt like they went back and like just put him just in the costume again, just for like 5 minutes, just to shoot him saying, "Get away from her, you bitch."
Yeah.
And that completely in post. I'm not saying they did. It's entirely possible they did, but it felt that tacked on, at least to me.
It did. The fact that it was like, I think Greg just said it. Get away from her. Just leave it there. That's enough. And we, he almost said it. Leave it there. Leave us wanting more. Don't give us too much. Damn it.
Also, he would know that it's a male, because the queens lay the eggs, and he would know that it's not a queen. So he shouldn't say you bitch. He should say, "Get away from her, you bastard."
Dick. All right, so let's go through the movie. We'll reset to the first act. I have some notes for the second act, but Gray, I need your assistance here getting us through this.
Okay. So intro.
I'm just here to look pretty. I don't help with anything.
Extreme quiet, extreme space.
Oh, wow,
It is
really going to give
pretty
us
amazing. But yeah, then we see
exterior.
this. Yeah, well, we see this rock floating through space, and we see the space station pick it up, and then as they're slowly opening it, we see something very familiar, and we notice. Something particularly dangerous. And then we flash forward in time. Oh, ho, good times.
I forgot I wanted this to be my intro for myself, so I'm just throwing it in here.
That is awesome. Oh, is that like a Funko Pop?
Yeah, it's a pop. Yeah, so it's not awesome, but it's fun.
When it's that close to camera, I mean,
yeah,
forced,
your perspective is great.
Yeah, forced perspective. That's it.
Your miniature work is outstanding in this show.
Oh, thank you, sir.
It can't be beat. But yeah, then we go to a mining colony and we meet this young woman and her brother, and we hear of her unfortunate fate that she's completed her time on this planet, but instead of allowing her the freedom that she has gained, apparently she's had her contract extended another 6 years.
Yeah, by double. She completed like 12,000 hours, I think, and she's checking it in the computer because Rain is her character name, right?
Mm-hmm.
She wants to fly to, I don't know,
Uvalde.
Uvalde.
Uvaga, I Vaga, we all Vaga for a Vaga.
Yeah, which I don't think we said it yet, but it's Kaylee Spaney, who's amazing. She just did Priscilla, and then she just was in the very controversial Civil War, but she's having a hell of a year with her releases. I guess Priscilla was technically last year, but yeah,
that's where I knew her from Civil War. Thank you. It's been bugging me. I was like, I'm not going to look it up. Thank you.
But yeah, like they double her. Like she completed 12,000 hours, and they changed it on the fly to 24,000 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it like an official thing, or did that lady just do it because she was a bitch? It felt like she just did it because she was a bitch.
Well, they were dying off.
It kind of felt like that. But if you noticed like the warnings that they were giving in there, anybody who feels sick, report to the infirmary or whatever. And then it turns out her parents died and some of the other kids' parents died relatively young. You know, she would be, her early 20s or something.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Yeah. So it seems like they're in desperate need of workers, which might be a mandate that's pushed through the entire Weyland-Yutani Corporation. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm an infant. I was reading Dice's.
No, that was adorable. Hi, Dice.
Oh, Dice.
They kind of go together as a pair, and Fede Alvarez kind of went into that a little bit in this one. But to kind of set everything in motion, everyone on this mining planet feels a little hopeless. So what is there to do but to get off the planet? And apparently if you're going to do that, you need to have the actual like sleep pods and energy for them.
Yeah, cryo fuel, I think it was, right?
I believe that's what they're calling it in this one. But they're much like the ones that we've seen in every other alien flick, if you will, but they're kind of fun in this one. They kind of eject outwards,
right?
Like
so they're aware of an abandoned ship. What would you call that? The thing where they go?
Well, it appears to be a sister station. So it's Romulus and Remus. Which are you guys familiar with the like kind of Roman mythology of Romulus and Remus?
Yeah, like the brothers that founded Rome. They were raised by a wolf that they like fed from.
Yes. So they were.
What's the word?
I think they're twins. Yeah, they would have to be twins. But they were twin brothers. They were supposed to be like the next in line, and then their family line got usurped. So they had to hide these babies. So they were put in a basket in the river, and then a wolf found them, and they suckled on the wolf mother. And anyway, long story short, they each founded their own city, and then one killed the other. But it led to the founding of Rome. So it's kind of this interesting tale that it also kind of goes back to the lovely director Ridley Scott. He's used it a few different times,
Prometheus,
including
yeah.
And then I don't know if you know that Raised by Wolves series or whatever, but it went heavily into the Romulus Remus thing. I do believe it was also called to that. But good times.
it's like baby steps of well, not baby steps of writing because people have abandoned it, but they tell you if you could give your viewers hints on what's inspiring your characters, it's like a little cheat code for people to understand.
Mhm.
Like
sure.
in Inception, her name is Ariadne, and apparently, I don't know which thing I've gotten this from, but Ariadne is someone who is a map maker, or I don't even have it right. But I remember reading up on that name, and I'm like, oh, that's really neat.
Well, first of all, Ariana Grande is a musician.
Yeah,
Sir.
talented.
Ariadne.
But yeah, we have this giant station, which appears to be two halves, the Romulus half and the Remus half. And yeah, they know that there is somehow they can tell with this scanner that they have on their very cool analog CRT screen computer thing that there are these cryofuel cells available there. So they're going to get it. So they're not going to wait for this company that will not honor their contracts that they've already fulfilled.
Yeah, Chrome
But
Chaos had it
in a way, it
before.
kind of makes sense.
The ship they steal is not an FTL ship. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So it'd take them 9 years without the cryo sleep.
And also, like,
Mhm.
there's like food and like supply and
Yeah.
oxygen. So it's like 9 years is a big ask. That's why they need to sleep through it.
Am I the only one that got like pseudo Elysium vibes from the first act?
Kind of.
Remember Elysium? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely see the vibes that are coming out of there.
Yeah, I'm not like.
There's
If you tell me no, I'm not going to cry.
no, there's quite a few things that are pretty damn close to it, and that were like inspired by this whole series. Like it's iconic, but like there's also like some Dead Space vibes throughout this.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
There's like some Splice stuff coming up, which was also inspired by this, but it seems like they're calling back to it. There's some fun stuff in here.
Dude, the fact that it felt like right down to the font, I'm a dweeb about that shit.
Yeah.
The fact that it felt like it was in the same universe as Alien with all the tech and just awesome. And I really wanted to play Isolation because there was the phone booth thing in there that I don't remember where. The Isolation, the game.
Yeah.
Have you played it, Lindsay?
No. It
There's-
wasn't. What's the phone book thing? Do you hide in the phone booth from the alien and they can't find you?
They had one of the things from Isolation in this movie. It's like total fan fiction shit, but I was
so many different things from it. The phone, like every time you see the phone, something major set piece is going to happen. Like they tried to give you clues, but he really, apparently, Isolation really inspired Fede Alvarez a lot.
That's awesome.
But
I felt like playing
something that for sure, I really want to again. Like I never completed that one. I really want to.
Save station. Thank you.
The other thing that he was saying, I totally left out one key thing in the Romulus and Remus myth. They are the son of Mars, who is the god of war. So there is kind of a reason why they are violent. But so he mentions that he's guessing that it might be bioweapons and stuff, division of it. Something about war. That would also kind of fit in with that myth of it. But
the goo.
good catch.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a note on that because somebody brought up the issue with the black goo and how was it there?
Ooh.
And I'm sorry, it's third act stuff, but I don't have that note, and I just want because I don't.
The goo makes an appearance, and that upsets some.
Well, if you're here for spoilers, you better know what the fuck we're talking about. There is something that I don't think it's just injected in there because fuck it, it's from Prometheus. If you're following the universe, I think it makes sense, especially with the,
I think so too.
Synthetic, because they're just up to no good anyway.
Before we get too far away from it, I definitely want to point out too that Fede Alvarez is really, really good at like crafting like really likable characters and really believable like good motivations. Like that was the first thing that locked on to me about Evil Dead. Just like, oh, this totally makes sense why they're all here, and like they don't want to leave because it's like exactly. It's like it all makes sense. And then in Don't Breathe, these kids are desperate, and in this one the kids are desperate again. So it's a little bit of a retread from Don't Breathe, but he does it so well and it's handled so differently. Like it's the dude's a storyteller.
Dude,
But desperation is often a motivation, but you wouldn't. if you listen to a lot of the reviews out there that are saying this is basically just a cover band, they're saying there is no characterization, there is no motivation for any of these characters, and it's like, I really don't.
No.
Yeah, but sorry, Charles, I think I cut you off. You were going to say something about Fede Alvarez's characterization.
Well, what he does really well so far between Don't Breathe, Evil Dead, and now this is he does like the basics of horror and kills it. Like isolation. Evil Dead, you're I mean, he makes it twofold a thing where you're isolated and you're kicking drugs, so like you don't know if you're hallucinating or whatever. Alien, isolation, you're in the middle of space, no one's there for you, and you're trapped and there's nowhere to go. Like it's and Don't Breathe, a blind guy, you don't he's got the advantage because he can see in the dark, and like really it, as basic as it is, not everybody can do it, and Fede's done it 3 times now, and I think it's brilliant. He's a really good horror director. Really good.
4 times if you count the girl who kicked the hornet's nest spider web. I can't. I always get those names of all of those screwed up.
I haven't.
It's not bad. I don't know. Considering what he had, I don't hate it. But I think this is his 4th venture out. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I just meant as far. I don't know if Hornet's Nest is.
It's got tension and suspense. Like you can kind of see what's going on with this. I think a lot of that leads into what he does with it. I was not looking forward to the remake of Evil Dead, and when I saw like the teaser, I was totally out. But man, he won me over. I'm glad that there is this version and there's the Sam Raimi thing. Dude, both are great, but it is.
Holy fuck. Gorgeous. This guy likes red, by the way. He loves the color red.
A little bit.
He does. He really does like the color red.
I'm sorry. We kind of went off on one. They wanted to steal. So they're trying to make the trip and get the bio.
And it is gorgeous. The cryo fuel, I believe, is what we were saying.
Right.
And it is gorgeous. They use miniatures for this, just like they did in the first 2 films. They do have some digital assistance in there, but man, it looks gorgeous. It is great. And then so much silence with space. It is just great. I love the way that they're kind of playing with that.
Right.
I don't feel like they're getting credit for that, where, if they did something stupid with it, they would definitely be mocked with it. I'm kind of thinking of like Fires in Space type of criticism.
Greg,
I don't see any of that going on here.
You don't think that's cheating when they don't do Star Wars stuff like making audio in space? Because I thought it was really it's more like Gravity than it is Star Wars, that's for sure. Because it's
they do
so
kind of
quiet.
cheat it in one scene towards the end, like you can hear it scream, yet she has on a helmet, she's in space, and but still, it totally works for me. I don't think it breaks verisimilitude or whatever, but to each their own. Your mileage may vary there. But so they're able to successfully get to this station, which again looks so beautiful. Just the production value in this, for it being only like $100 million, I was fooled when I see, a lot of the other products we're getting recently that are much more than $100 million that don't look this good. But I'm looking at stuff along there. Basically anything that has like, I'm just thinking of the one that just opened. I couldn't even think of it. Borderlands. Just the CG in that and the lack of practical compared to this is just, I don't know. You can tell that these people did what they loved with making all of these creatures and everything. But sorry, I'm going very slow through this. Let me start speeding up.
No, not at all.
So they get to this lovely space station, which every detail looks amazing. And then, from there, everything goes smoothly. They find the cryopods. Everything's great, except for they only have enough fuel in them to go 3 years, which they need 9 to get to the new colony that has already been terraformed that they want to go to. So, then they have to find the fuel somewhere else on this station, and they have this really cool, I guess it's a heat-sensitive tracking thing that very much calls back to the kind of trackers that the colonial Marines had in Aliens. But this one apparently can pick up like energy. So they see that there's some batteries somewhere else, and it happens to be in the cryo lab. So Yeah, that's kind of where everything gets kicked off. And it turns out in this cryo lab, they need to raise the temperature in here for some reason to detrimental effects, and then all hell breaks loose. So, yeah. Oh, Tiamat, what's up, man?
Getting rid of what made us hate Prometheus and Covenant. No,
Not all of us hate Prometheus and Covenant.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, who hates those over here?
I don't know. I understand everyone's mileage varies in this, but each film like brought so much and so many different like intentions to everything. Like, I don't know. So we traditionally think of like the eggs and like the queen alien and all that, but like that wasn't in the first one. There
Dude,
were
if
eggs,
you-
but
if you hate
But,
Prometheus, the third act is going to kill you.
yeah. But I don't know. Like each director, writer is kind of exploring a different aspect, and man, I like the way that Fede was able to blend a bunch of those into this that still feel like they're of the world. But yeah, I just think it was masterfully done.
Mm.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are kind of claiming that that's just studio interference, that they're saying you need to put this in there, you need to put this in there, you need to put this line in there. So I don't know. I haven't heard any actual claims of it, but that was a few of the criticisms I kind of saw as just way too much studio interference. I'm not sure about that.
I think it looks fantastic. I think it was extremely well produced. The cinematography, those wide lenses, whenever they're moving through the curved hallways, it doesn't. You could tell they're not moving that quickly, but because they're in a curved hallway and the lenses are so wide, everything feels so much more intense, and it's just really, really classily done. And
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a snob for keeping lenses on sticks. That's what is that term, Lindsay? What are sticks?
The tripods.
Yay!
Yay. No,
Yeah,
it's
I
really
like all
simple
this shit.
stuff, but like there's one shot that lives rent free in my head of like one of those curving hallways with like the lights from their little ship coming in, and like it's really simple, but it's so pretty. It's like a real window. It's a real hallway. Like it's like it just looks so nice. I miss real things. Fuck you, Marvel.
Yeah.
One little detail that I adored. Did you guys notice too? The cryopods were in a kind of a W shape.
Yep. It was really awesome. Everything in there is just stamped with the Weyland-Yutani.
There's
It's
so
so amazing.
Like the little
I love it.
elevator thing they have on their ship too had like a little W on the bottom of it. Like
I saw it like she was wearing a t-shirt.
The airlock
with
for
Weyland-Yutani.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everything. Yeah. The entire last act takes place in a Weyland-Yutani t-shirt. But yeah, just like the airlock stamps, like in between each door is like a Weyland-Yutani, like amazing emblem. Like it's just on everything, which the lore of this company just keeps going more and more. And it just kind of, it makes you think about, Joss Whedon kind of changing that for 4. I guess it all ends with Walmart buying the company, apparently. But
oh, is that a thing? It's been a minute since I've seen Resurrection. Does Walmart buy out Weyland-Yutani? That's amazing.
It'd probably be Amazon now, but yeah, or
well, Amazon, a subsidiary of Walmart
or Tesla.
Oh God.
But so they are on this oddly unmanned station that they've seen now is in 2 parts. They're in the cryo lab, and there are these specimens that are now warming up because somehow
The oxygen gets tripped, isn't it? Isn't that why?
Well, it's like the cryo fuel that they're taking was being used to keep the facehuggers in hibernation, and now because they're taking it, they're waking up.
Yeah. So one
Which
of
I
the
loved.
one of the gripes I've seen with this is why wouldn't anybody notice that they were going up to that station? And it's like if they're keeping the specimen alive or warm, who the fuck's gonna go there voluntarily? Like it's kind of like breaking into a Jurassic Park or some shit. Like, yeah, oh no, someone's broken into the gate. What are we gonna do? Nothing. Like with it,
it's kind of unclear because like there are a bunch of theories, and then depending on like what books, like it's a really fun universe. So it's kind of like Star Wars. There's like canon and not canon and all that stuff. But perhaps the original movie, the Nostromo was sent out to find this thing on purpose. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh,
it kind of seems like maybe there would be some higher up at the corporation who would be very concerned that this entire station got overrun. But
yeah. I
apparently,
mean,
no, we're good.
the synthetics have always been nefarious in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know why like them being able to board that station is such a scandalous thing. But I mean, okay,
Well,
it,
what's the
Yeah.
Hitchcock rule? Sometimes things just need to happen for the movie to work.
yeah. I,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm cool with it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
also cool with the first one where, supposedly, like, mother just woke them up because there's something nearby and they need to go check it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm just cool with that. Like, I think if I was put in the part that I'd be that desperate, I'd be looking for anything, and this seems like an option. So
Right.
I don't know.
And stories are contrivances by their nature. It's just how much are you willing to put up with? I just it's suspension of disbelief in the end because if you're on board for something fictional, you're dealing with some sort of disbelief. So
Yeah.
it's how far are you willing to go is the everybody's mileage varies on that. But I think it's fine.
Yeah. And so I guess from there they get trapped in the cryo lab. So the other people from the ship, so Kaylee Spaney and I unfortunately do not remember her name in this, but an unfortunate young lady joins her, the pilot of the ship.
Varro.
And
Oh, with
Thank
the
you.
Alien 3 hairdo?
Oh yeah.
yeah,
One.
yeah, it's a callback. So yeah, they decide to go in with disastrous results. So I thought that was really cool. Almost every single thing that they've used from this. So Fede Alvarez like went back and grabbed like the old tapes of every noise from the original Aliens and
Nice.
or Alien, excuse me.
Yeah.
And all those computers have that like same noise, but man, they do some amazing things with just the CRT TVs. Like it looks so amazing. And when you think like 2001 came out, what is it, like 10 or 11 years before Alien? Like they
Yeah.
could have made it super flat screens like they had there and just projected an image on it or done it afterwards. But instead they went with these weird CRT things. And I love the aesthetic of it, but they're using that everywhere. And you mentioned the camera being on, sticks. It is, but then they have these amazing shots that you get to see through the CRT TV. But it calls back to Aliens when Apone and I want to say Hicks had a camera, but a couple of them have like helmet mounted
Oh
cameras.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
don't most of
it's
them have
amazing.
helmet mounted cameras?
I don't think everyone did, but I know they all have monitors, but I don't know if everyone had a camera. I could be wrong. I did just watch it, but I was not paying attention for that.
I watched it, but listened to it instead.
No, I wasn't like, hey, does everyone have a camera? Instead, I was just like, yes, I love this. That effect is working out so well.
Something I really dug.
Hmm?
What is it? Is it analog, like computers loading or computer tape that? Tick, tick, tick,
Oh, that old,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love the clicks.
Yeah.
It is great.
Every
That's
click
straight
in
out of
Eve is just,
Alien
like,
too, which
amazing.
is so good.
One more time, Lindsay?
Yeah.
It's straight out of the original movie too.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I love
yeah.
I love this like future tech by way of like the 1970s and the fact that they adhered to that. Like I do like the prequels have grown on me, but one thing that's always bugged them about me is the technology is more advanced in the Star Wars prequels than in the original trilogy. Like I'm not just like just the ships just look sleeker and better and stuff like that. It just like, but anyway,
That was
that
before times.
before the dark times. And there's just something fun about like retro futurism that's always kind of just cool to revisit, you know?
Yeah.
They just nail the aesthetic in this. Where
Yeah.
I recently kind of went back and watched 4 Alien Resurrection. I like certain aspects of that film, but man, there's some really sleek stuff. It doesn't feel like it's the same world. It doesn't have that like kind of retro futurism thing. It's different. But there's aspects of that I love, which are very controversial. But yeah, I feel like we might get to that in a minute. So Kaylee Spaney and now I forgot her name again are there to
Navarro.
disastrous results. But sorry, I got sidetracked talking about all the cool CRT TVs and everything, but they find a device that looks very similar to devices we've seen before, but magically it's this cool X-ray thing that it's an X-ray torch that you can see inside yourself, which adds this fun element. But I'm sure we won't talk about that coming up or anything. But
insignificant.
Yeah. So it's kind of awesome. So unfortunately, the face huggers that were unleashed in the water. Yeah,
that's British for water.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, there's something in the water.
Wait,
but
how is water like a foot deep? I mean, it's a really
unclear.
Awesome okay.
You know, everything in space is wet in this universe. It goes back to the first one. You know, when it's cold in space, so condensation or something. I don't know,
dude. Just the fact that you can kind of get a little bit of a Jaws thing going on with the things that might be in the water, like just that there's a portion of where you're at that you don't know what's going on in it, like that.
It's freaky.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind
in a way that also calls back to Resurrection, which so that's the first time that you get to see xenomorphs in water and kind of like how gracefully they can move. Now the technology was not there, but man, they went to like great efforts to build these sets, and I guess the water kept not showing up, so they kept having to make it like murkier and murkier to where the actors were just almost dying in these things. I guess Ron Perlman like knocked himself out and almost died. And,
it was a very painful shoot.
And they tortured Winona Ryder, who drowned and almost died when she was like 12, so she had a phobia of water, but since she had the very short haircut in that one, they couldn't use a stunt double. So yeah. So yeah, it was a torturous shoot, but man, what the actors did in that was really cool. The CG was not there, and then they couldn't exactly put somebody in a xenomorph suit down there and try and do that, so they didn't, and the CG just looks horrible. But some of the ways that the facehuggers were able to move in that water really did kind of call back to that for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I guess facehuggers need to breathe, or like, are they like cockroaches and they can just survive anywhere?
Clear. In this one, Andy points out that the facehuggers are matching her breathing pattern to give her breath, but it's a little unclear whether they need to, because you never really see those pouches like inflating or uninflating on their own. So I'm not sure. And this is kind of where we first hear that they're heat seeking, which is kind of fun. Yeah, I guess that's coming up in a minute. But yeah, so unfortunately, one of them gets a face hugger. It might be the one that's in the poster that everyone keeps seeing. But yeah, that event happens at some point in the movie, and I think that would probably end Act 1. Or where would you end Act 1? Would it be where they got to the station?
No, you're right. Yeah, once we have some deep throating of facehugger tail, that's something that I noticed. I mean, that was even in the trailer too. The penetration angle. I don't think we've seen it like that
very
before.
much. Oh,
I wondered about that. Yeah.
So Ridley had a very interesting vision for that first one, that he wanted it to be very visceral, that it was like males giving birth, and he wanted it to be, you know,
sexual.
Yes,
forceful?
Very much so, but forceful. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
Well, the magazine. I mean,
yeah,
fuck, I had a whole class on that stupid magazine scene.
So that's where, you know, he wanted to bring in, you know, Geiger as well, who just is, his images alone, they are also, you know, very suggestive, if you will.
Their heads are smooth dicks, for fuck's sake.
Very phallic in design. So that kind of fit like his idea perfectly. So yeah, that was definitely intentional, but each film has kind of added to it. But I think this was definitely the most graphic that we've seen, where you kind of see I forget what it is, but it's protuberance, you know, trying to make its way inside many of their mouths. You know, it some could say over the top, but that made it really creepy for me. And
the woman
really
taking
visceral.
on the kielbasa in Private Parts has got nothing on this movie.
True. So now they I did skip over. They see giant holes in the floor, much like every other movie, which is kind of a callback to those. But next to it is a half melted synthetic.
Dun, dun, dun.
I forget what they want to be called.
Artificial person, isn't that the
yeah, I think that's the one that we're going for. Yes, not a synthetic person,
right?
Artificial person. Well, that's the thing. So it's kind of a callback to Ash. It's kind of a callback to David. But no, this is Rook apparently, which
just
is a
model.
different.
It's just the same
character.
thing with a different model number, isn't it? Like
exactly, which is kind of a callback to David, and it's Walter in.
Oh yeah.
But the Fassbender model, they explained that they'd used that multiple times.
It's pretty.
So, how did that work for you guys? The whole seeing Ian Holm come back, the Ash from the original Alien, as this synthetic or this artificial.
Not my favorite.
Human.
I would have liked it if it was like. Well, first of all, I did like there's this body of this synthetic that's just lying there for a good amount of time, and we don't realize that it's got Ian Holm's face and that's an Ash until it's been around. And that's kind of cool. I thought so. We're in this thing's presence, so we don't know what it looks like, and then oh god, it's Ian Holm. But I would have preferred if it was a much smaller part. Maybe one scene where he's like there in the room with them, and then like maybe a couple of like on the monitors later. You
could even do something where like the fucking thing is just like nightmare fuel, where it doesn't have a face. It still talks. I mean, it's a robot for fuck's sake. So just get rid of its face. Yeah, and have it being the sound.
You kind of got two callbacks going there. So first off, it is like essentially half of a synthetic. So we do get a callback to like Bishop from either Alien 3, or we do get him from the end of Aliens, where he's just kind of like, essentially severed in half. That's also similar to what happened to Ash in the first one, where he does get his head kind of ripped off and then he's right next to his body. But man, it would be another callback if they just made the face a little bit more messed up. Apparently that's the rumor with Alien 3, is like the Lance Hendrick model just didn't look very good. So they just leaned into it and just like made that look as ugly as they could, like had the skin like coming off of it. So that could have been like another way that they could have done this, because I really do like having Ian Holm there. It's a shortcut to the audience. You know that, okay, so this model of droid did not have the most humanity behind it. It wasn't like David. It didn't make its own choices. Instead, this is like Ash. It has company directive. That's the first priority. That is the only priority here. And it's going to be, kind of mentioning that like perfect, what exactly do they say? They even call back to it perfect exactly, organism? But it's not.
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be that. So it gives you this little bit of shorthand that like they don't need to explain that. And then, for new people, they can just kind of understand like, I don't quite trust this. It does have that weird, whatever you want to call that, like uncanny valleyness to it. But
yeah,
man, the execution of it, I don't understand it. Cause like I've seen so many like Ben Stiller, Tom Cruise, like deep fakes that are like flawless. Like I thought they could do it so much better than that, but Crawling Chaos is pointing out good deep fake is expensive.
It is.
Granted, it's just a few seconds of like Stiller as Cruise or vice versa or whatever that I've seen, but man, I don't know. I guess I was just hoping for a little bit more than that.
It's tricky. Technically, it's really, we look at faces all day, every day. We know what they look like and how they operate and move, even if we're not like visibly conscious of it. No, not visibly, like even we're not conscious of it. And so when it's like you said, it's the uncanny valley. It's really hard to trick the human brain into thinking that something fake is real. That's why like a lot of this AI stuff, some people can just look at it and be like, that's AI generated, without even like really focusing on it, because there's just little tells that the brain can just kind of pick up on.
And as much as this image says that my face has a big nose, I don't see it. So
yeah, no, of course, yeah,
you guys are full of shit. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
And Crawling Chaos points out that he read Fede Alvarez said that logic is that Mother is controlling both Ash and then Rook. I heard that too. I don't know. For him, that might be canon. Like I haven't seen that, so I'm not sure that I interpreted it that way. I definitely didn't interpret that way in the original one, but I can see it. It doesn't seem to like break my continuity or headcanon, but
You could have shown
it's definitely
him,
not how I interpreted it.
and you could have just resorted to having a reason to not show his face. Like when he was on the screen
wish.
towards the end, it was just like,
Yeah,
can we just do that? Can you write something in so we just have it that way? I
Apparently-
didn't hate him, but I would
same.
like to see less of him.
And he went about it like the awesome way, like Fede Alvarez went to the estate, went to the widow and asked, and Ian Holmes' wife did mention that, like, you know, he wanted to be out there more, but he kind of got typecast. You know, not only did he do this and then was awesome in so many other things, like so many iconic roles, but after Bilbo, it just kind of like killed his career. Nobody could see him as anything but that. So they were actually excited, and she thought that he would have felt honored to be in another role.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so at least it's not, you know, just somebody like dancing on the corpse of somebody. Like,
Right.
no, I can use you. So that is cool, but I don't know. I do wish that we didn't have that shorthand. I guess I wish it wasn't what we got. But
Or if you like didn't like call back so many lines, like what was it? Like, you know, I have to reject your petition. You have my sympathies.
Well, what if it's like an
And the-
NPC thing where it's like an
yeah,
automated
the
response?
program responses. That's kind of how I was taking it. So like that part I didn't hate. I guess it was the effect itself. It wasn't even the fact that it's the character or the model. Like I kind of like that because that's kind of a callback to the David Walter thing as well. It's like, oh, okay, they're using these models for this particular thing. Like maybe this is their science officer model or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did think that was kind of cute that he was literally the science officer, the exact thing that they needed. But, you know,
Mhm.
Wow, you have like all of
But,
the canon in your head there, Hungry.
Man, it's one of my favorite franchises.
Dude.
Like, yeah, I'm a
We're gonna have to talk
I'm a
about
stand
Alien
for
at
it.
some point. All right. Good to know.
But yeah, so after that, they try and get this face hugger off of the one girl, and they introduce something kind of cool into this. They have this cryo fueled gun that can kind of blast some coldness, but be careful. You don't want to just leave it on. You could have disastrous results. But yeah, they're asking this Rook fella if there's anything that they can do, and he says no. But this robot, who I sadly I didn't give him any credit yet, but man, this new synthetic or artificial person. Now I'm forgetting exactly what they want to be called. But Andy, he is amazing, and
Played by David Johnson. Yes. very
thank
good.
you,
Yes.
David Johnson. I was struggling for the name. I appreciate it. But yeah, he is just doing this amazing performance. But apparently he was a droid that was scrapped that Rain's father found at the junkyard and then programmed to protect her. She's kind of seen it as her brother. He, in this attack, who was stuck on the side with the face huggers, he had this seizure thing that the only thing that they could think to do to get him clearance out of this was to put this chip in it. So when they do take the chip from the other synthetic, actually it's a disc. It's not actually a chip, which I thought was really cool. That brings
SD
back
card,
the-
as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, that awesome analog technology, though. Oh man, I just love the futuristic retro. It's just so good.
Like the CD-ROM fucking wheel thing.
Yeah.
on it.
A little tiny. It reminded me of like those little MP3 ones, but
Mini disc players.
Yeah, a mini disc. Thank you. I don't know why I called it MP3. Yes, it was not MP3. But,
a friend of mine had a
yes.
mini disc player, and I thought it was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever
Same.
seen in my life. And then
It seems
I
so
found-
like
I
retro
found-
futuristic.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so this synthetic human that keep seeing, he has this amazing transformation where he's gone from this somewhat broken character, this defective kind of android synthetic person, to now really taking charge and being assertive. And it's kind of interesting because we have kind of two Rooks at this point, which is very interesting. But Man, I guess jumping all around throughout the entire universe, I think this may be my favorite, if not second favorite, synthetic performance in
Yeah.
this. Like, man, I think Lance Hendrickson has him just beat a little bit. For me, I love me some Ian Holm, but I gotta tell you, like the transformation that he goes through, so much. There's so many more levels to this performance than
Wait.
what Ian Holm gave me in the first one. So I'm going to give him second, or
Wait,
sorry, third in
Where
my
is
ranking.
David on this list for you?
I was about to say, hold up here.
So to me, Fast Best Prometheus is kind of its own thing. I love it, but I kind of hold it as this kind of side piece. But now we have this.
Are you
which
creating
really
a new category for David? That's kind of cool.
Kind of.
In a league of his own.
Amazing. But yeah,
That's fair. That's fair.
fair
off the hook
enough.
for now.
If I'm gonna rank them all into it, yeah, David for me would come in second. Lance Hendricks just has it in first for me because
It's Lance Hendricks.
it's just the classic
to quantify it. It's
man.
Lance
Like,
Hendricks.
yeah, fair enough. But Bishop is just he's my man. So I guess he would take
by the
number
way,
one.
where
Fassbender would
would you
take
put,
two, and then I'd put Andy in there.
Where would you put Charlize Theron, going off the theory that she's a synthetic? In
So she's under Winona for me. I think Winona did pretty amazing in this. I'd put her under Ian Holm. So yeah, I think I'd put Charlize under that. But,
But she fucked the guy I'd like to fuck if I can. What's his face?
I almost said
Next James
Thanos,
Bond.
but no, not Thanos. Thanos killed him. Idris Elba.
Yes, Idris Elba.
oh yeah, I mean,
Somebody's lucky.
You know.
I don't know which one I'm jealous of, but
No, let's just be honest. Good for both of them. Okay, like they both came out pretty well there.
but
Yes.
yeah, this portrayal of Andy is just like amazing,
I
and
agree.
the turn that this actor is able to do. There's so many iconic shots from this that are just. I would want frames of this like on my wall. It's just kind of amazing, but they do it a couple different times. Both times that Andy is frozen on the ship, kind of rebooting, are just amazing frames.
The high angle where they show his eyes like
Mm-hmm.
resetting or whatever. Yeah, that was a really cool.
Yeah.
Like his eyes
then-
roll back and it says Waylon on them. That was amazing.
Yes, which is awesome. Like there's just so many logos everywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I wanted to. Something that I thought while I was watching the movie was I felt like they were kind of going a little. I don't know. I was worried. I won't say the W word. It's not Waylon, but it's not broke either. And it felt like they were trying to make it seem like I don't know that the robot was somehow on the spectrum, and I felt like they were just doing that for the sake of doing it. But when he got his little SD card, and the fact that he was able to give two rather separate performances, I was not only impressed and was able to forget that thought, but it is incredible that you can kind of tell that, when his updated system is in there, between the shot and the shot of him updating or resetting. I forgot what it was called.
Rebooting. Or whatever. But that directly calls back to the whole David thing, and Walter, for that matter. Like they said that David was too human, so they needed to, kind of keep updating it, taking away a little bit of that autonomy and that feeling. At least David thought that he was feeling. I don't know. It's kind of implied that Andy is an older version, and then this update is making him less human. It is making him more like Ash, more like Rook.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I dug it. I dug. I'm glad they did more with that character, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Kind of like, David, I thought was kind of boring in the beginning of Prometheus, so they rounded him out. Holy shit!
Yes. Yeah, and. Yeah,
right, exactly. Budster Brown's got it. This is exactly what I was trying to say. It's really cool how you can get both sides of synthetics from one robot. We've had both good and bad in the franchise, and it's awesome that Andy shows both. Exactly. Whatever I said, I was trying to say that.
And it's just an amazing performance that he really
Indeed.
does portray both of those. And it's just both of those are really great performances. But I have heard it belittled as like essentially like Gen Z in space with their special needs robot. I think that's very uncharitable. I mean, the same thing you could say about the first one is like, okay, diverse trucking company has a bad day in space. I don't know. Like, I don't think those are charitable critiques of the actual flick, but
Yeah.
fair enough. It's like clickbaity titles.
Oh yeah. I don't know how to YouTube well. I'm sorry.
None of us do. That's why we're here. No, I'm kidding. No,
All right. With the shots fired, let's go on your channel.
no,
shit dick.
no, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
So they're trying to get this facehugger off, and they use this cryo gun that we talked about after being told from Rook that there is no way to do this. They ask Andy, who says, yeah, that might work. So it's kind of interesting. So we get to see just how fast that might actually work, or if there's another way, because previously we'd just seen them kind of miss, and then Ripley was able to hold one off while Hicks and I think Vasquez grabbed it and pulled it back. But yeah, we've never really seen one successfully removed. So it is kind of interesting. Instead of breaking your neck, if you do freeze it, apparently it'll retreat. So that's kind of new. We didn't have that lore prior to this. So that's kind of fun, but they're able to freeze it, and they do get it to release, and then it runs away after being scared by the freezing cryo gun, which interesting. I don't know if it's ever followed up with that. Like, do they have multiple seeds within them? Could they attack multiple people, or is it just one and done? Because like in the past, we've seen, they live their life cycle and then they run away to dry out and fall on Ripley later. I don't know. Not exactly sure. But yeah. So now we have a character who had a facehugger removed from them, but they're probably fine. And then very viscerally, the very long protuberance from the creature is pulled from the mouth, and yeah, that also kind of yes, but that also kind of calls back to some of the sexuality that was in Resurrection that one kind of got blasted for. It kind of calls back to Ripley handing certain appendages to now I'm forgetting her name, but the lovely Winona Ryder. Yeah, so there's like interesting things that are like weirdly, I don't know. It feels like it's elements of each of them coming in. So I guess Did
you notice the facehuggers had black markings, unlike classic facehuggers? Black stuff to blame, I guess. I didn't notice that. Oh yeah, because the original or the 1978 alien facehuggers are more like an albino looking color.
Yeah. I had assumed that these ones had been experimented in some capacity, because because one thing that's always been kind of crazy about this franchise, the longer it goes on, I feel like the window of time you have between the thing putting it on your face and the thing jumping out of your chest is like shrinking, like to the point where like eventually there's going to be a movie where it like touches your face and then your chest explodes. I'm always
for the sake of movies, I'm okay with that contrivance.
Oh yeah,
I don't mind it being shorter.
I mean.
Oh no, I'm not complaining about it, but like I wonder if these were experimented on and like that kind of sped it up. But sorry, go ahead, Gray.
It could be. He is mentioning that the black goo does make things faster, so it totally could be. Oh, sweet! Thank you, Alien Freak 97. I think you would probably be the expert on this. Thus the name.
The Freak.
Sorry, 95. I don't know why I just said 97, but Alien Freak 95.
That's a great.
That is awesome.
The royal facehuggers have two embryos, a queen, and then a warrior to protect it. That concept was created in Alien 3. So retcon.
Fair enough. I have not watched 3 in far too long. I actually just got into an argument about it the other day, and then found out that I had never watched the assembly cut. I got into an argument that no, it's a dog, and they're like, no, it's a bull that starts it. It's like, no, it's a dog. I had never seen the assembly cut where it is an ox apparently that starts the whole thing on the colony. But yeah, my bad. Weird thing, but good to know. Yeah, they've kind of changed the lore with every film in a fun way that I have enjoyed, and then they had novels that also changed it in a very different way that kind of did imply that like the fact that in Aliens they say it's another bug hunt means that they'd encountered things like this many, many times. Which I don't know if that quite works with some of the things that are implied with this and the whole like Wayland Corporation trying to create
Yeah, they're up to no good.
cure for death, so to speak. So I don't know. It's really interesting. But yeah, I like the canon in this one, and supposedly this one is canon now.
Oh, it better be. This one's dope as hell. Like, if this gets decanonized, like, what is canon if this isn't? Like,
yeah, and he does mention, I can't remember if it's Operation Prometheus. I can't remember the exact wording. I would have to kind of look that up. But yeah, it's directly referenced as Prometheus.
All right, on Alien Freak, shout out Alien Freak 95, main topic on their channel. Pardon.
Hell yeah!
So throw a sub over there if you want more about Alien.
hell yeah.
Yes, I'm
Thank
sure
you
your
for
lore
stopping
goes
by, too,
way
dude.
beyond ours.
Right on.
Hell yeah. But yeah, from there, we get the remove. Oh, sorry, we were talking about how long the gestation period is. It's changed in like every single movie. Like, I guess technically we don't know how long it took on William Hurt because it shows him, he has it on there, and then we aren't really given a clock, and then it kind of comes back to the med bay, and all of a sudden it's gone, and they don't know where it's at. And then they find it, but it doesn't give us a set amount of time before John Hurt actually wakes up, and then all of a sudden
he already had some anxiety.
we're going to the celebration dinner. I know, but I mean, like, it implies that that's a while, but I guess I don't know. They kind of do some wipes between
that
there.
bonus situation.
But I don't know. In Prometheus, they make it, it is Prometheus where they get the Neo morph or whatever. But that's awfully fast. Where what do they call it? Like the trilobite or whatever that thing is when it attacks the engineer and makes a neomorph.
The big squiddy
chest burster.
Yeah.
When that so that forces its thing down his throat, and then a chest burster comes out of there pretty damn fast. I think that's the quickest one on screen. So I don't know. Like,
we don't know how fast it is because there's a transition.
Yeah.
Because you just see
for sure.
the engineer just like geeking out and getting spilled out of. So like we don't know how long that is. That could be a day later or something.
But it does seem awfully quick in this one.
That's fair.
The Facehugger wasn't on her for very long. It didn't complete its entire cycle. So we don't know exactly, how long it was on there, but Rook kind of warns that hopefully it wasn't too late, meaning the seed was implanted. I'm sure that didn't happen. But it turns out they want to keep her on wait, now I'm forgetting which side, if it's Romulus or Remus. I think they're on Remus, but they got to go through Romulus.
Yeah, aren't they on Romulus like the most part? But their ship gets over to Remus, so they have to like. Is that what it was?
I think so. Now I'm blanking. For some reason, I think they have to go through Romulus because it's the other one. But now I'm blanking.
I have no idea.
Anyway, they're on one side of the ship, and they've decided that it wouldn't be safe for this lovely lady to go because she might be infected with it. And that makes the Wata guy kind of freak out, and they make a run for it and get to the ship and decide to take it. I've heard a lot of criticism towards this part of it, that the ship should have crashed more, should have done more damage when everything's kind of going on in that sequence.
It was, I kind of liked it, but it was a little silly how it made a perfect circle around the entire
That's
stage.
kind of the criticism. I think technically she kicked the wheel to the side, so maybe it would just go in a sideways. But yeah, I don't know.
Again, the Hitchcock rule, like sometimes, man, you just need things to happen for the movie to work. I don't know why I'm so forgiving of this movie. But I was willing to forgive so much of this movie, except for one thing, and we'll get there.
But that's the thing. Like, if this is your first Alien movie, I understand. But we've already seen Alien. We're like, listen, we know it's going to happen. So why would you just dick around for 45 minutes if we know what's going to happen? We're watching a movie, not a documentary. If you want to like stick to the truth and things like that, make a television series. And I don't know how you do scenes like that without ruining the fact that like the scare of the chest burster coming out. Like,
For sure.
I can understand someone having a problem with that, but at the same time, why are you watching these movies then? Because they've never stayed to a strict cycle.
Oh yeah, no,
So-
it's just an observation. It's not a complaint.
No,
Bringing that
right.
up, but yeah.
I just if that's like a complaint that you have, and that's the thing that like the movie sucks because of that. Like, I don't understand how you're like, why
Yeah.
why is that the reason you hate it?
Because I hate
So
myself
Alien
when I'm talking through the movie.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Sounds
Go ahead.
good.
So Alien Freak 95 points out that the gestation cycle depends on the situation, like they showed us at the end of 3. The guy who gets shot in Resurrection. Oh yeah, fair enough. I totally forgot about that dude. I love that
death
actor. He always
too.
plays a Weasley guy. But yeah, I forgot. They emerge sooner if they sense danger, which is what kind of happened here.
That's
The girl
wild.
did feel like they were going to leave her behind, that she was going to be quarantined. She was told to run for her life. And then they've got this android, or well, the synthetic, who did kind of tell Kaylee Spaney that he is going to kill them. So maybe there is a reason why she felt danger as she's running away. But fair enough. I did totally forget that thing. It is kind of cool that they, keep adding lore.
Yeah, that
with
you like
each movie.
retroactively make things make sense. Or
Oh, yeah.
sounds good to me. Fuck it.
And also that death and that resurrection when like the chest burster comes out of his chest and like through the back of the other guy's skull. Top 10 deaths in this franchise. That was
Yeah.
so sick.
Oh.
Like,
There's some really cool things that happen in that movie, but there's a lot of misses as well.
yeah. Although what's his name is always a hit. The guy you're a beautiful butterfly. What was that actor?
Chucky?
Yeah. The Chucky actor.
Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Brad Dourif. That's it. Brad Dourif's always a win. Always a win.
There's so many wins from that one, but there's a lot of losses. I don't know.
Also,
Why did they
I
have to
was
throw?
watching Cody talk about the stuff earlier, and I had a realization. So is Alien Resurrection like the Blade of the Alien movies? She's like half human, half xenomorph, all their strengths, none of their weaknesses. Like, am I
Essentially.
overthinking that? Like,
She is the Daywalker. No, essentially. Like we have the end of 3. So what happened? She went into molten. Now I can't remember what metal, but yeah, you
Lava,
can't
just
have
say
it back
lava.
except for the really cool dude who happens to be very pivotal in Game of Thrones later. He happened to take her blood in 3.
oh, that's right.
Cody hates how 3 opened. Hates how 3 opened.
What do you mean?
Look,
Taking everyone's favorite characters out off screen. Why would you do that?
3 is not great, but there's something about the hopelessness of it that I kind of like. I have to be like, in a
They're
very
all hopeless. What are you talking about?
It's like even more so in this one because like religion can't even save you. It's just like you're just fucked, and there's nothing you can do. I don't know. It's not my favorite. I would not sit down to watch 3 right now.
I
but
think they do the same parallel better in Prometheus
probably.
because she's a scientist who also still has her faith.
Yeah.
And just like, what do you do
But
when you
there's
find out
so
everything's
much
fucked?
more.
Go on.
Hell yeah, man. Sorry, there's just so much more like layers to the. I don't know. I guess it's a hot take. I like 3, but I like it kind of in the way that I like TLJ. It's not what I want for the characters, but
Right.
I understand the journey, and I think it's really masterfully done the way that they have this, and then considering the restrictions that Fincher had on that, and like it being his first film, and just everything kind of going wrong, and there's just so much control that he did not have.
He made
on
that
one.
movie like while being arrested. It's just like, can we see what he would have done if he didn't hate the movie? Can we see that cut, please?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, I don't know. You see the art that guy makes, and there's so many shots in this that just, I love so many parts of 3, but yeah, it's not how I want Ripley's thing to end.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, everyone except for Ripley's story to end. Man, Hicks and Newt deserve better than that.
Mostly.
Even Bishop, man.
Most.
They gotta take out his head.
We did a slight detour. Yeah, Alien Freak. Absolutely, man. I'll stop by after this and we'll figure something out.
Hell yeah.
Although I've lost where we are in Romulus now.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Let me get us back on track. So, the lady who just freaked out and just felt like, perhaps her life is in danger. Suddenly, that does awaken the seed that was implanted inside of her,
No.
and you get some really cool chestburster action that I haven't seen one better than this. I got to be honest. There's even a scene in I think it's Resurrection where no, I'm blanking. There is a Ripley like chessboard. No, I think that is Aliens. Excuse me. I think that's James Cameron doing it, where she's just having a dream that it's coming out of her chest. It's more of a stomach burster in that one. But man, what they do with this because of that X-ray torch is just. I really liked the terror of this. You get to actually see it, what it's doing on the inside. The only other one that I can think of is like we mentioned in Resurrection, where it they actually put the camera down the actor's throat and then they mirror that into kind of seeing what the chest burster is doing inside of him. But yeah, that was a little bit more disturbing than this. I thought the X-ray torch was a really fun way to kind of show that without literally shoving a camera down the actor's throat.
Also, seeing like one of the ribs crack, it's like, that was very visceral.
The sound work was really neat too.
And I loved how that one trailer. I went back and watched a bunch of the trailers after I saw the movie. One of the trailers really revolves around that boom, 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 as it's like breaking out of it. It's great stuff. It's a really good trailer.
And then after this thing bursts out, oh, sorry, I guess we forgot. So they did have Chekhov's X-ray machine over before, as Razor Wire Reviews points out. But they did also mention that there is a third girl on this ship, but she's pregnant. We haven't talked about her yet. So
the best visual reactions in the entire movie.
Yes.
I don't know how she...
And
all of her
some of the best falls, too.
Oh, she fell so many times. It's just like, this poor woman's going to lose her baby because she just tumbles out of bed.
But yeah, I did forget to mention that. I'm sure it won't ever come up again. But yeah, we find out that she has morning sickness because there's some guy out there. We don't know exactly who. She does say some asshole. And there is somebody on the crew acting like an asshole. So perhaps it's related. Not exactly sure. But yeah.
He's just not trusting of AI is all.
It makes sense. But man, I just, that X-ray torch just made that so amazing. And then you see the reaction or the actual thing quite well. Again, they're using practical effects. It's kind of amazing. Like this prosthetic that they use, like kind of as you lift your arm, it just bursts out. It is kind of amazing. It just, I think a lot of the actual sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's
reading
my
the
fault.
comments.
See, that's what happens. Now you know how I feel sometimes.
My bad. But yeah, the practical effects on this were just amazing. Like I'm sure they're augmented a little bit digitally.
I was going to say, how would you
so
do
good.
that light setup practically? Where there's got to be some CG influence in that. Some.
Oh, that actress is
for
actually
sure.
dead. She so much
X-ray
radiation into her back, and then she literally let her chest get, so she really went all the way.
But yeah, so it does burst from here. We get an amazing reaction, and then as Crawling Chaos pointed out a little while earlier, then we get this new addition to it that is kind of the stage in between chest burster and actual xenomorph, which is kind of interesting. Apparently, it's a very vaginal looking wall.
Oh my god!
Thing. Oh, the wall egg, yeah.
It's kind of an egg, but it's flower-like as well in a way.
An aggressively vaginix. I don't know. It's just.
Are you saying that doesn't belong in this franchise?
I'm saying right on for. We've had a break from that kind of imagery for a while, and
it feels so Geiger-esque to me. Yeah.
And then he goes and shoves the
cattle prod, which is kind of a callback to Harry Dean Stanton from the first one with his cattle prod. It's good times.
I think it's actually there's something far worse later on in the movie where after the birth, it's a very aggressive looking vaginal thing too. Where it's like,
again, it appears to be a life cycle. It's interesting.
It's the circle of life.
But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So yeah, the water guy keeps stabbing it with a cattle prod to disastrous results.
Yeah,
Some
that was a
acid
death that
starts coming
really.
out of there.
Ooh, that was hard. Like, oh god, it was like falling on me. Like that. I felt that one viscerally.
Is this presented in 3D anywhere? Was it?
I
Don't
didn't see it at
think
my theater. I know they were doing
Okay.
IMAX, which I really want to go back and see. Apparently, it's just an experience, which I'm very jealous of Lindsay. He got to experience it in IMAX in all of its glory.
I'm wondering because some of the shots look
I'm
like they were
alright. Sorry,
3D suggestive.
it's possible.
Yeah, it could be. It might be for IMAX too. They shot it so that it would work on that, which a lot of times that works if you kind of center it because like they've got a lot of the frame that's kind of peripheral. But I'm not sure. It seems to work hand in hand with 3D a lot, but we'll see. But yeah, it was quite fun. The cattle prod comes back, and it's not very effective, but it does anger the thing inside this wall gina. So yeah,
Walgina. That was a great scene too, and it did lead into one little moment that I don't really like because while that's happening and they're dealing with the Walgina, three other characters need to cross a room just full of face huggers, and they establish don't talk, don't make sound, and don't raise your body temperature or drop your body temperature, and you'll be fine. And then they just kind of do all those things. They start talking on the radio. We see the goosebumps like coming up. It's just like, okay, all right. Everyone's okay. It was fine, but it wasn't my favorite sequence of the movie. I don't think them kind of crossing that facehugger room. You know what I mean? Like, how'd you guys feel about that?
I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it breaks lore or anything. Like Alien Freak 95 could probably let us know if it does. But it's interesting because like I know in the comics they had a couple different ways that the actual like xenomorphs communicate or how they supposedly see, and then the games kind of like expanded on that sort of. At least in Predator, as a Predator, you could look through the alien's view and supposedly see kind of what it sees. But as for the facehuggers, I've never really known what exactly they go off of. So it is kind of interesting. In this, apparently it's heat. So body heat. They can do kind of the Predator thing where, cover yourself in mud and you're good to go. Instead, in this one, we're just going to crank up the volume, the temperature to human temperature.
Has it ever been explained why they penetrate the face?
You want to lay an egg somewhere. They happen to have the breathing sacs there, so apparently they can control your breathing, so it just kind of works. And you can't just deposit it in someone's throat. You got to go all the way down. So that's why it has its long protuberance.
It's a very specific way to impregnate something that is not vaginal.
Well, where do you think the acid blood comes from? It's the stomach acid. It just gets distributed out throughout the whole body.
There's the other thing, like the fact that we saw these face huggers in water. Do they need water?
Yeah.
Because their blood is made of acid. Can they swim? Like how? Oh, I
yes,
think really
gracefully.
can swim. Yes. I don't know. I have far too many silly questions that I can make an entire cinema sins on.
For sure. But like this, it's kind of its own side story. Like I forget what they call it, like interquel or something like that. Like it's in between it, but it's not a direct sequel or prequel. It's kind of to the side.
I kind of like that.
I think it's something like that. I don't know.
Rogue One for aliens.
Kinda. I mean, that led right up to like the start. So I don't know. It's a little bit prequel-y, but side mission, but kind of the same thing. But yeah. So while they're having this problem with the chest burster, we totally forgot to mention while it's bursting out of this lady's chest, she happens to hit the stick on the shuttle that they're using to escape from everybody else. And then it magically crashes into the fuel supply for this giant Remus and Romulus station, where you'd kind of assume that that's going to like come up again or something like that, but I guess it was enough power to put them off the course that they were on that would have taken them to this asteroid belt within 36 hours to now it's going to be, what is it, like 30 minutes or something like that? It
I think an hour or something
drastically
like that.
reduces the time.
Yeah.
But
Whatever the runtime of the movie is, that minus 20 minutes.
but yeah. Oh, Alien Freak, get back to us on the lore. Yeah, it varies on which lore you read. Yeah, that's why I kind of like this franchise. But
That's cool.
yeah, at some point under their eyes in the skin. Oh, that makes sense.
I just
thought
assumed they
it
ran
was
off
the whole-
vibes. Like, they just like felt out the vibes in the air and just charged them down.
Well, there's some that. So, do you think that they can communicate? Do you? It's interesting.
They're
but,
smarter than people give them credit for, which is something I like about xenomorphs. They seem to, actually be kind of intelligent.
They're the perfect
but how
organism.
Intelligent,
Well, I think we were talking about just the facehuggers. Like, I think it's undeniable that the xenomorphs can talk somehow because, like, they've got this queen that has people that are doing her bidding, if you will. But as for like the facehuggers, like somehow they know that somebody's right outside the egg, and then it knows when to kind of launch that. So I don't know. It seems like there's some sort of thing going on there. But yeah, the lore really varies on whether like even the egg is alive, and perhaps it could even create another little face hugger. But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, good times. But yeah, so after it hits the fuel thing, it magically lands like perfectly without anybody touching it in the cargo bay on the other side of the ship. So that is the main thing that now they need to go through Romulus, the infested side, if you will.
The sister, yeah.
Because now we've got a countdown clock that within like 36 minutes or something, we're going to hit the asteroid belt. So the only way off is to get to our ship, which is on the other side of the station, if you will. So yeah, I've heard some criticism about that, and fair enough. It is it does kind of break verisimilitude that somebody kind of having a seizure or a medical condition hitting the joystick. I don't know if that would make it perfectly land in the next cargo bay over, but yeah,
it was funny though.
I don't know.
It was cool. It's fine. It's not the.
I was willing to go with it,
yeah.
But maybe you could have had the pregnant lady just grab the stick or something and like set it down. I think that would have solved it for me. I would have like totally been like, yeah, okay,
I need to watch it again.
that works.
But
or set like click the button that says like land or something like that. I don't know. Even if it has like an autopilot, just something. They have the button at the end that Rook is trying to get him to press, the autopilot or whatever.
I guess my thing is, if I have a magical choice to just erase something from this movie, it's not going to be that.
Yeah, I've got two other ones that are kind of on my list.
By the way,
cool.
Pregnant actress, do you know who she is? I just looked her up.
I know she's been in a whole bunch of things, and a whole bunch of people told me that she is the reason that they want to watch this. So
she was in Dora the Explorer.
Yes, she was Dora.
The one with the scary eyes.
Yeah, but also Transformers: The Last Night. She was their version of Ray.
I know her from Transformers, but I didn't catch the Dora
Madam
one.
Web. She was Anya in Madam Web.
I was going to say we all know her from Madam Web, but
she's having a 2024 too.
She is. I'm going to add her name to the tags on the video I put out, just because apparently she's a thing. Okay.
Oh yeah, and Alien Freak is talking about like some of the theories of how the xenomorphs communicate is echo communication, but some of the games made it so that it is like echolocation. But there's also comics that say that they have like these unique like nodes of neurons that actually allowed for like telepathy, and they can actually like read what the humans are feeling and what the humans are emoting, but they don't understand like our language or whatever, so they just know like fear or they're planning to attack or something like that.
Like octopus.
So yeah, so it's interesting. The lore really varies in it depending on what you're reading, and like the newer comics are even way different than like the Dark Horse run. But yeah, good times.
Do they have purple lightsabers?
I hope so.
Well, they better
if there's any justice. But yeah, so that's the conceit. Is now we need to get to the other side of the station because now we're going to crash. So from there, I think this is like,
Definitely.
where would you have Act 2 begin? Would you have
Oh,
done
we're in
Act 2
already.
like,
We're definitely in Act
well,
2.
I know, but I mean, would you have had it as like when the facehugger goes on, and then we're getting to Act 3 essentially once we
So I think the intro is they're trying to steal a ship to use the fuel. The conflict is the facehuggers. Whenever that they
I
first
think so.
enter-
I think it's from facehugger essentially till we get to anti-grav
Right.
situation
I would
too. And I
say
guess
that is
I
Act
glossed
2.
over the really cool anti-grav thing as well. That was really fun. When they first get to the ship, the gravity hasn't been turned on because the ship is completely powered down. But apparently there is this thing that causes the false gravity on the actual station, but it needs to cycle every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, essentially the gravity turns on for, I can't remember how many seconds, and then it turns off again.
That's not
So that's
the Inception with benefits scene, is it? That's at the end. That's right.
So they establish it at the beginning when they first get
Yeah.
on to Remus or whatever. Kind of like, where they mention the lady's pregnant or, they pick up the X-ray torch. They like to set up a few things that are going to come back a little bit later.
Hey, well, you're
But,
saying this movie does setups and payoff? Because this movie does not do none of that setup and payoff nonsense, okay? Like, this movie's
For sure.
above that.
So yeah, then they have to go through this room where they cooked the temperature all the way up to a human temperature, and at the same time, the pregnant lady is in this crashed ship with the xenomorph, and the dude had cattle prodded it. So as they're going through this room, they made sure to say, "Okay, we've got to be absolutely quiet." It's almost like T-Rex rules, but for noise. They will have no idea we're here as long as we're quiet. So let's do this. So I don't know. That's kind of fun to me. I thought it was a fun addition on kind of the lore. It doesn't necessarily break anything for me, but I don't know. It does kind of establish that it is a heat-seeking thing that they're doing, which I don't know, kind of works. I like how he's able to kind of throw a flashlight, like maybe that would have, enough power or enough heat in
I
that
did
it
love
would kind of
that.
attract him for a second.
And I did
But,
love that some of them kind of swarmed on it and stayed on it, and others kind of figured it out and moved on. That was really cute. I adored that.
Like Luke said.
And they are moving fast in this one. So all the close-ups, they have these amazing puppets that take I can't remember if it's 6 or 8 people to actually do the animatronics on it, but they're amazing. But they definitely use CG assistants for when they're running after them and everything. Still, I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. I love that whole scene where they're having to go through that warm room. And then a lot of people called it, okay, so this is where the Gen Z thing comes in. They can't stay off their phones. They can't just be quiet while they're getting through this thing. And I don't know. The chick is panicking. She just went through a plane crash or a craft crash after just witnessing somebody have something burst out of their chest.
She only
I think
made
she might be
3
panicked.
TikToks during that span, so
Yeah.
that's
Oh, and then
nothing.
I also forgot to set up one more payoff. The Wata guy, he used the physical key that they also have on the doors and then took it out of it. So apparently you can't just open the airlock on this one anymore. You need to find that physical key, which is kind of fun. It did look like a cheap lock, but fair enough.
I think it's a neat thing to have Andy reset, or what was the term?
Reboot?
Reboot quill?
Yeah. No, Andy, when he would have to start seizing up and shit.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. He was just rebooting. Sorry. I started reading the thing and then heard reboot and I was like.
So while that shit is happening, the thing that would know enough about those things is currently powered down. It's a nice little touch. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Sorry, I just keep reading the chat instead of going on with the lovely story here.
Lindsay, you're quiet.
I apologize, but no, I'm kind of trying to chime in when I can here.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, if you got nothing to say, don't say anything.
well, maybe I want to say something now that I feel called out. You ever stop and think about that, big guy?
I don't want to give you anxiety about it,
Try,
please.
you want to go? Like, come on, let's go, bitch. It's fisticuffs. Okay, so where we at? Where'd you leave off, Ray?
So we're going through the silent hot room, and the sister tries to call her brother to say, "Get me out of here." There's something that just took out the guy with the cattle prod because it's leaking the acid on him, or however you want to put that.
Yeah, that scene gave me definitely Don't Breathe vibes. I'm not the only one there, right?
Very much. That whole like be quiet thing. I felt like that was an homage to his previous film, but or a couple films back. But I don't know. What did you guys think? Was that kind of a Don't Breathe callback reference, like whatever you want to call that?
I mean,
or is it just a quiet thing?
It was just, maybe he was trying to do A Quiet Place.
I mean, again, it's like basic horror movie stuff where maybe he just likes to keep things simple.
That's true.
Fair enough. But did it strike you as awfully Gen Z that he just couldn't not answer the call? Would you just ignore your sister? Would you just let her be attacked by a xenomorph from Panic?
Call it a Gen Z thing. Like, at that point, you're searching for reasons to shit on this movie.
Yeah. I wonder if the answer in that situation is just to start running. Just, and as you're running, just scream the instructions at her into the headset.
Well, that is what they end up doing. So you're right. And then
how are you able to keep your cool? It's not like they're just like fucking. They're just like what? Slaves? They're workers. They're coming across something that they're not really familiar with. Would you expect them to handle it completely as by the book as it should be handled?
No, I would expect them to kind of want to comfort his sister who's, panicking after being through a whole bunch of trauma.
Like, you'll never get me on a horse. And you can tell me when I'm horseback riding not to do this because, something will happen. But if I get anxious, I'm going to forget everything you just told me. But I don't know. I'll watch it again and then see if it bothers me. But I
definitely do need to watch this one again. Like, I feel like there's just things that I missed, and I just want to spend more time with Andy and some of the other characters. Like, I definitely want to watch this one again.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, I've seen it twice, and I'd really like to see it in IMAX. I'd like to experience it that way because apparently it's a full sensory experience. Where I'm not sure that I necessarily got that with mine. I didn't engage my full senses, so I need to do that. My periph also needs to have it in the screen. But yeah, so from there we get an alien, like a xenomorph, kind of toying with the girl on the other side of the door, and then they've all got to book it. The three of them, Andy, Rain, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but the captain of this mission,
Tyler,
the guy who put it all together. Let's go with that, Tyler.
Yeah,
not the Wata guy. But yeah, they all have to start running because he couldn't be quiet, which it seemed to be working, but for how long, I don't know. So he did the throw the torch thing, and then we see that Andy possibly is not concerned with their safety as much because while he beat them very much in a foot race, he's having the door close, and were we calling him Tyler? The other gentleman with them barely makes it through the door, and Kaylee Spanny also might not have made it through the door, which previously his prime objective was to protect her. It kind of makes you think that maybe his objective has changed, and you can kind of see suspicion building with Rain in this one.
Yeah, I like how they handled that too. Like the moment when like he's like trying to say what his thing is and he has to change it kind of at the last minute. Like it's
download an update.
Yeah, this is why Andy's the best character, man. He's got so much going on.
And I think I totally forgot to also talk about that reference that Alien Freak 95 just brought up, like, admittedly, he didn't realize the dead alien in the ceiling was the OG one from the first movie until the second viewing. They did make it kind of clear that the Weyland-Yutani Corporation had been searching for the exact one that Ripley had fought in the first Alien movie. And then when you see striking the Jesus pose above Rook in that med lab or whatever, not only does that give you like Alien 3 kind of reference where, Ripley's unfortunate demise comes with the Jesus pose as she's jumping into it. Prometheus also has that, but also Alien Resurrection has quite a few. I don't know. There's quite a few references that go through it, but you can see that the grappling hook is actually in that alien that is stuck in the cabling in the ceiling in that room.
That's neat.
Bunch of details that I didn't quite catch on that first time.
I definitely didn't soak that up. That's for sure.
It's that really, it is kind of amazing. But it shows that the Weyland-Yutani Corporation was really interested in finding that specimen, which kind of seems like there might have been other tests going on that perhaps they sent Nostromo there. We're not sure, but sometimes.
Well, I mean, half the fun of Alien is how fucked up is this company, right? Like,
for sure. So now they all get to where this loading bay is, and they see the ship, and they see the pregnant lady, and they see the xenomorph behind her just kind of toying with her. Yeah. That is kind of interesting. I feel like there's something I skipped over there, but we're already going kind of slow on this. So
well, Andy has an interesting line there where he's like, I can't open the door for you because then he'll get in and that's what he wants. And so that's why I'm like, how smart are these things? Is it actually waiting for the door to open to pounce, or is it just, a cat playing with its food at that point?
But dude, the fact that they showed us like the POV, like they gave us like an over the shoulder shot of the xenomorph, like looking at the door. And it's like, well, you're showing us what he's telling us. That's pretty interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I guess I did skip over. You do see, I forget what's her name is, but once she opens the door to the shuttle, she does come into this other bay and falls down and hits herself multiple times and then passes out.
She fall boom.
So then, so then when she wakes up, you do see over her shoulder in this really fun shot that has her in focus and then slightly out of focus. You see the two bodies of the one who had the chest burst and the Watak guy being pulled up into this air vent, which is kind of fun. Yes.
Or pull focus if you're in the UK.
Well, it did certainly pull my focus, and I enjoyed it quite immensely. But so there's some really fun things with that. But again, you're learning that Andy isn't exactly there. He seems to have other objectives. He's not willing to just open the door, even though he seemingly could, because that thing is there. He doesn't want it to come out. And because of their inaction, you really see the brother freaking out. And I thought he did a really good performance of, what would you do if you can't help the person on the other side of the door, but you know that it's toying with you, essentially. I don't know. That was totally believable for me. I got to be honest, a lot of criticism I saw is that there is no characterization in this. I feel like I know
that at all. Yeah.
Every one of these characters is in there, not by name, obviously, as I'm calling one Watto guy, and I'm calling him the brother. I don't remember all of their names, but I could tell you what their motivations are, why they're actually there. When I'm thinking back to the first Aliens, I don't know a lot of their motivations. I don't know. I don't know what Dallas's motivation was, other than he was like the captain of the ship. I couldn't tell you what Yaphet Kotto's motivation was. I know
bonus
he was
situation
to get bonus, but
right,
I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many kids they had or anything like that. I don't think we find out till Aliens that Ellen Ripley had an 11-year-old daughter, that she was supposed to be back for the daughter's 11th birthday.
Right.
She had promised she would be. I don't remember that characterization necessarily happening in that first one, but I felt like I knew those characters from kind of their motivations and the way that they're really being acted out. I don't know. I feel like this is much along the same, but we even got a little bit more backstory, and I think it was pretty gracefully done when she's kind of trying to get her credits, her credit for time served. I can't remember exactly what you call that thing, and they kind of go through some of her backstory there. That well, what about your parents? They're deceased. They got mind lung. I don't know. I feel like I understand a lot of what's going on in this world and these characters' lives, but I don't know. For some, I guess no characterization whatsoever. But I thought it really kind of showed you the torment of this brother who's seeing his sister on the other side of this door that he can't get to. Like, literally, there is a force stopping him from opening it because, rightfully so, it will kill them all. It is just toying with them. I don't know. I feel like I knew this character, but fair enough. From there, we do see her get stabbed by the tail, the very famous spear tail of these awesome things. And man, you also got to see the Wata guy get attacked by the tail of one of these things. The tails they establish are very dangerous, which it goes back to the other movies. Perhaps that will come up later. That Deus Ex Machina not using that thing in the future, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what happens from there. I guess they're trying to. I know they go to the med station or whatever, and that's where they get their gear, the awesome upgrade from the original one. Do you remember what happens after they see the sister getting pulled away? I'm feeling like I missed a beat there, and then they end up in the med lab, if I remember right. Well, then let's jump to the med lab.
My bad. Yeah, my bad.
It seems like there are these specimens that are very important to Andy currently in the moment.
No.
It seems like, Rook has kind of made that his mission as well. So it seems like this card that they put, this disc, seems to be deeply affecting him. It sounded like they were updating the AI, and perhaps that made him a little less human. But
the patch was updated.
Yeah. But while we're in that med lab, we get these samples, and then we're going to go right back to that ship because, we saw it take her away, so it's clearly not there. And Kaylee Spaney has this eagle eye and just says, wait, do you see it right there? And I thought this is just this amazing shot. Again, we've got these CRT monitors that you're looking through, but you just see the xenomorph head just barely move in the bottom right corner of the screen. And it's just like you can see that it's hunting them. And then they come to the conclusion it's hunting them. So Andy knows that they need some supplies, and he happens to bring out the classic assault rifles, but with a very special aim assist feature that is quite awesome. And then we got a new paint job on them that are all white, as if they're the medical rifles that we need. But yeah, man, that was pretty awesome. I loved seeing those, and then it's a fun way of kind of showing you the details of it. And then it kind of ties in some of the games as well with like the aim assist and whatnot. It's a fun way to make it very game-like. I enjoyed it. But
I have yet to play a game like that, but okay.
Well, you prefer the keyboard, and I don't blame you. But
mouse and keyboard for life, supremacy, yo. Like,
hey man, give me the controller with aim assist, and I'll do all right. But it's kind of awesome to see like the white painted ones, and then it turns out that they've got this fun like little screen on them as well. So there's like slight upgrades to this, which could make sense, even though this is about 36 years, I think, before Aliens. It's I think it's 30 years past Alien and like 36 years or somewhere around that before Aliens. Sigourney Weaver's still in her pod and asleep right now. So you'd think that those Space Marines would have had like that aim assist feature or something, but who knows how long they've been out in service of Weyland-Yutani. You never know. The med team is more likely to need the aim assist, but still very fun. I really dug that. It was a fun little callback for me. So they definitely make sure to tell you though, we're on the bottom floor, so you really can't use. Andy is telling them the rules that you really can't use these. These are just to scare them because apparently they'll know what these can do and they'll be scared of them. Because if you actually shoot them, acid, blood, and then we'll all die. So, yeah, that's not
Are we
great.
getting my Inception scene now?
I think we're almost there. So they decide that they're going to get to the shuttle. So they're going to go a different way. And while they start going there, you start seeing that really fun kind of from Aliens. I guess it is very much the whole space jockey vibe of like the inside of that amazing ship, but that kind of like Cryoton kind of insect-like stuff that seems to be taking over, and you can kind of
in
you
the
tell that
hallways.
the nest is near. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
awesome.
they see that and they decide we got to go the other way, except for the brother hears his sister screaming from in there. So then we get that fun scene that calls back to pretty much every Alien movie where you find people that were taken back to the nest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then we get the sister in the nest, and that's it's quite fun. Apparently, she's freshly in the nest, but all the actual xenomorphs took off. I guess they're hunting them down. They figured they would go the other way, so they just left this area unpatrolled. So I do believe they are able to get her out of there, and then all of a sudden, from behind them, one magically pops up, and the brother runs to save Kaylee Spaney. So I don't know, that was kind of nice, but then they're establishing again these tails are dangerous weapons. They are essentially spears, but even worse, they're prehensile spears. It's great.
Prehensile spears.
So unfortunately, we lose the brother then. So then, am I tripping? Because now I don't remember. Okay, I think I'm missing something now, because then we'd have the girl. Oh, okay. Right. I totally forgot about Andy being left down below. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So they grab the sister, they grab Andy, and they're running back the other way. And nice.
Apologies. Yeah, no. I wish the brother hadn't gone out quite that fast. I really liked him as a character. Actually, it was very simple, small moments he had with like Kaylee Spaley's character and others. But it worked. Very simplicity goes a long way sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And then we get another kind of moment from Andy where he starts to kind of short out when we see this the laser fog that kind of appears in a lot of those movies. It was in the original ship and Alien. It's in a couple more times, but for some reason Andy kind of feels it, and then he starts having this I guess seizure-like thing that unfortunately it seems like his broken unit seems to be doing for him. So Kaylee Spaney kind of has a crisis of conscious moment, and then decides, okay, we'll get the humans out of here. So her and the sister start going up the elevator, and it calls back to so many different elevator scenes, which were all callbacks to kind of other elevator scenes, but it all kind of stems from Aliens, I guess. But yeah, so amazing. Did you guys feel that there was tension with the elevator scene, or did that feel too much of a ripoff cover band, if you will?
I didn't. I mean, it was fine. I kind of saw it coming that she was going to go back for Andy. Honestly, my biggest issue with the elevator scene, it happens 2 seconds later. I think you're talking when she injects herself with that crap for no real reason, but we'll get there. I don't know. It was fine. This is a part of the movie that I think I'll kind of tune out a little bit when I watch it on repeat, because it's just kind of heavy action without much else going on. But
doesn't she need to stab herself? Otherwise, she at least has a chance. If she stabs
it's a little unclear. Oh. So yeah, I guess I did gloss over that really quick. When they do pull her out of the cocoon that she got put in, they are instructed to stab her with the thing, and they decide against it. Instead, what she can do is get back to the ship, get in the cryopod, and there would be enough time for them to get her medical assistance when they get off of there. So that's what she's supposed to do, is go up the elevator and then get to the cryopod, freeze herself, so that she will get medical attention later.
No.
But it's a little unclear. They ask Andy whether he'd be able to do it, whether she would be able to survive. He does the calculations and said she might. So it's a little unclear. But
That's a couple minutes.
Rain has a crisis of consciousness again and says, no, I can't leave my brother behind. And it's not just her brother, it is also her father. Like, he did program it, he did put all of his jokes into it. I don't think she just views this as just, this is my iPhone or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It really is like the last gift that her parents gave to her, what her father put a lot of time and effort into, and then it is supposed to protect her as well. But she's also protecting it. It just makes so much sense to me that she would be going back for this and why she would risk everything. And then we get a really fun scene down there. So I believe this would be, I think Act 2 would have already ended, and this would be Act 3, kind of the escalation
Probably.
of.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think this was kind of the part that you were excited to talk about, right, Charles?
It's the bootleg Inception scene.
I think we're almost there, or pretty much there. They're told there's no way to go up because we're talking the anti-grav thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is with her and Andy kind of at the bottom of the elevator thing. They've got to figure out a way to get out of there because all of the aliens are coming out towards them. So
yeah, so they make a decision to kill the gravity, don't they?
yes.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
While the xenomorphs are like floating down, they shoot them, and they're trying to figure out a way to time things because she doesn't have that many bullets either, or rounds,
which is also amazing. I just love the auto aim thing mixed with the way that it's showing the countdown of the bullets. Like so many game feels, but also it gives you that same timer feel that every movie has given you in different ways.
The flashing one bar at the end there.
Yes.
Like, running out.
Also, 450 rounds a clip. Was it like that in Aliens too? Was it just these guns that had that? That's insane.
So that's the problem is Apone had Frost gather everyone's ammo in Aliens, and then he happens to be the one who gets taken out. The first lady gets taken down, and she flamethrowers Frost, who then has all the ammo explode. So it's a little unclear. Like, by the time they're done, I think they have 3 pulse rifles, which each have like 50 rounds or something like that. They don't have a ton, but if you watch kind of the extended edition, they also have these Sentinel kind of drone things. They do have like 500 rounds each or something like that.
That scene was so sick when I was a kid. I was just like, there's so many of them. How can they deal with this? Like, I actually think I saw the special editions before I saw the original cut of Aliens. So that was kind of a trip.
Yeah, it's this scene where, if you want to call it derivative, yes, we've seen something like it before. I'll give you that it's derivative. It's not entirely something new. It's a twist on something we've seen before, but at the same time, I can't just accept that this is like shortcuts and not good filmmaking because it's done in camera. It's fantabulous looking. If you see the behind the scenes on Inception, this isn't exactly an easy shot to pull off.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a certain amount of sense too. Like with it being, like you're already going to say like, okay, so this ship does have false gravity somehow or manipulated gravity. Maybe that would be one way to keep. So they've established you're on the lowest level. They have acid blood. If you shoot them, there's a whole integrity thing. We're all going to die. I don't know. How else would you solve that? Like, I think it's kind of a clever way. I'm not sure that it's 100% realistic, but
I think
I'm going to buy it.
The floating pus blood shit, you still have to factor that in. So you might kill them, but their blood is still over the place. So you have to like traverse their blood too. So like, dude, I'm a geek for this scene. I fucking
it's great. I love when she has to like shoot her way out of like avoiding some blood because she has no way of changing her momentum. Like it's great. It's super clever. I have seen a few people bag on it on Twitter, and I'm just like, why? It's fun. It's unique. Like it's space. These movies are about space. Like, and it's the most spacey scene.
But the internet
seems like it's progression. Yeah, true. You got to hate something. That is a good point. But I don't know. It kind of seems like it is a progression of Resurrection, where they are kind of doing the swimming xenomorphs. Like now we're in 0G, but I don't know. Like in a way, it's kind of similar. Granted, we only saw them for a few seconds, and then they get taken out very unceremoniously. But man, I just think there's so many kind of references to the other ones. It's kind of seamlessly, masterfully done, in my opinion. A few too many for some, but yeah. Did you have more to say of this awesome part? The amazing anti-grav thing where they've got to get through this hallway and then get to an elevator on the other side.
I mean, I love that they get there because of the jokes. Like, it's one of his cheesy ass jokes that make them realize, oh, gravity. Like, that's great. I adore that.
Oh,
It's true.
I don't remember that. That's funny.
Like, what was the joke?
I thought
They got
were
a
having
book
moment
on
to, like,
anti-gravity. It was hard to put down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
I thought they were like having
That's
a moment
right,
to ground
anti-gravity.
themselves. Okay. I don't remember.
They
I
were,
really
but
should watch
it
it.
offered the solution. Comedy is always the solution.
Great.
So after this fun kind of avoiding acid scene, we do get to another elevator scene where, again, they're kind of trying to get through, but this time we're kind of swimming up an elevator. This, to me, this is the scene that really doesn't work the most for me. It's kind of elevator ex machina type weirdness. Like, okay, so they've shown like 4 or 5 other times the aliens' tails are extremely, extremely dangerous, but in this time, magically, one's not going to attack Kaylee Spaney with it. So, sorry, to set it up, they're coming at her towards the bottom of the elevator. They've actually grabbed her through this grate, so she ends up shooting it. The acid blood eats a hole in this elevator thing, so now the xenomorphs can get in and chase them up while they're going up this thing, and they know that the anti-grav purging or whatever is going to happen very shortly. So you get also even kind of like almost a Hans Gruber homage where you get Kaylee Spaney just barely able to not reach Andy with this, and she starts falling. But then an alien kind of out of nowhere just grabs her with its tail, just wraps her up, not stabbing her or anything. And I think that's where I have a huge problem with this. Why does she go through it unscathed? I think she should have had it grab her by the tail. Then everything else still happens, but it stabs her, like, say, through the shoulder. Like it did that to the pregnant lady. She seems to be okay. She was running up an elevator or riding up an elevator.
Well, you know, it's
But
a classic plot armor, right? Like,
doesn't-
no, go ahead.
Wouldn't she serve a purpose alive? So for the alien needs to catch her before it.
She'd still be alive if it stabs her in the shoulder, like it did to the pregnant lady. Like she's still alive. She has a baby.
A little bit different situation
just-
though, because it's falling down this fucking elevator shaft where.
It just feels like a little bit of Deus Ex Machina where, you know, they did establish that, okay, in zero gravity, the elevator is not working, so we got to climb up it. And then it does the gravity purge, so now it's holding her, but it's not stabbed through her. And the elevator just comes down and takes out the xenomorph. But somehow, you know, she was spared and no acid repercussion from the tail getting hit or anything like that. I hear you. That is kind of the one way that you justify it, is it's intentionally trying to spare her. But I think that's what it did to everybody else. Like, you don't have to be, you could feel threatened while still being injured. I don't know.
I'm like really
fair
excited
enough.
to watch it again for a bunch of different like critical reasons.
Yeah. How strong
So
are
the-
synthetics too? Because he holds that elevator like pretty
Pretty
easily
strong.
with one hand. Like, I'm not
It's
saying bro doesn't
established
lift, but sorry, go ahead.
Well, like with Bishop being cut in half, he's able to hold him and Newt from the power of the airlock being open.
Many.
They do have the power of many.
Many.
Oh god.
More than the power of one. More than the power of two. They do appear to be quite powerful. I am not sure, and I think each one would have been rated differently, but yeah, definitely by the Bishop model, they appear to be pretty strong.
Cool.
So yeah, he stops the elevator for a minute and then drops it, and that appears to free Kaylee Spaney, but Then she gets attacked once again, and then we get everyone's favorite line, the callback from Sigourney Weaver saving Newt.
The worst part of the movie, the worst moment of the movie.
Get away from her. Pause.
Yeah.
You bitch.
But kind of like questioning when you're saying it.
You bitch.
You
bitch.
bitch.
I mean, like it makes sense for them to for him to do that pause because he's a very pausey talker. But no. The line itself doesn't make sense, but it makes kind of sense for him to be like, get away from her, you, and then pause as he's doing his little Andy moments. But no, I still hate it. I'm trying to justify a terrible moment. I hate it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It doesn't fit his character. It didn't fit the moment. It was too slow. It was just bad. Just every way.
Yeah, that for me is the one thing that I'd change about his performance. Everything else for me totally works, and I get it. It's the line that was written. I don't know. Do you find too much fan service all over this thing, or is it really just that one line that got you?
There's a lot of it all over the place, but I think this was the one that broke me. I could have dealt with a lot of it, but then it does that, and it's just I don't know, man. I don't know if there's coming back from that.
See, I don't think there's a perfect movie. I think for the sake of me liking the Prometheus shit, what if somebody wants to hear "Get away from her, you bitch," but the sacrifice is you're going to get your line, but you also have to deal with Prometheus. So that's kind of all right, I'm getting my Prometheus, so I have to deal with this cringe fucking "Get away from her, you bitch" line. So if for the greater good, I'll put up with it. It's fine.
Fair enough. So we know, but nobody else knows that the girl in the elevator has injected herself. And now we make it to the escape pod with the sister, Kaylee Spaney, and Andy, the amazing. And in order to reboot him downstairs, he did have to allow her to take out the Rook chip. So he is now back to kind of classic Andy, which is great. And then that did lead to him saying that amazing line. It wasn't the awesome possible mother who was saying that.
Windows 95, Andy.
Yeah. So that is kind of fun. So then we, blast off from there and everything's fine. 3 acts and we're done. It's a good movie.
Well,
yeah.
Does this count the moment where Rook tries to get the pregnant lady to take off without them?
I did forget to mention that. We do have some fun Ian Holmes stuff also there is
fun Ian Holmes stuff. That's a great line.
There is also the threat that the entire ship, the station, if you will, is crashing into the asteroid belt. So the countdown has really begun. And you get real Aliens vibe from this that, the big explosion's about to happen. We've literally got a countdown on this. We got to get out of here.
I'm a big fan of the new klaxon sound, too.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to hear that again, but very similar but different.
So I think it is tradition with the Alien movies that you do have a 4th act. You don't just end it in 3 acts. It's okay, it's over. And now let's tack one on to there. And this one's no different. I think if they had ended it right there, it would be universal love for this. Most people's issues that I've heard kind of come with this, other than that line. Everybody seems to have an issue with that line. But I did hear one person really defending it, and they really liked it. It was a great callback.
Enjoy it.
But yeah, the 4th act is kind of what got most people not liking it. So we did establish that the sister is pregnant. She's been put into cryo sleep. So now Rain is getting out of her suit to get into the cryo sleep thing. Very much reminiscent to Ripley. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
except
then the whole
panties this time.
Well, the whole next sequence is quite reminiscent. Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it totally worked, and I totally dug it. I can understand why people don't, but yeah.
But that's that's one of those things where it's you're paying tribute to the thing without just outright saying it. I feel like there's enough that's different to still be an homage and if you know, you know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too forgiving of it, but I thought it was the angles weren't completely the same, but you know, at a time or two, you could definitely tell what the inspiration for that stuff was. I I don't know. I'm okay with it. I really am. I I'm endorsing it, if anything.
Well, I get it. I guess it's somewhat controversial, and some people are not digging it.
Yeah.
We're talking about
it's kind
the
of
spooky
Promethean.
alien thing, right? Like the
Yeah. So
it totally works within the context of the movie and the franchise and all that, and I do dig it, especially that shot where he's like standing all big and tall, and it's just like less than Barbie down there. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I mean?
Oh, you're talking about the engineer.
Oh, did I skip ahead? I apologize. Where are we at?
kind of. I mean, we're basically there.
Yeah, when she's changing and trying to hide from the xenomorph.
Oh yeah. Oh
Not
yeah.
the engineer morph.
That was another moment that, like, if the get away from her, you bitch line wasn't there, I probably would have appreciated it more. But at that point, I was kind of getting a little rocks tapes just to printer paper, sandpaper grind. Does that make it? I don't know if that metaphor makes any sense.
But yeah, the other rather aggressive vaginal shot is right before what you're talking about, Lindsay. Is when
Yeah.
the pregnant woman gives birth, and oh my god, it looks like a watermelon grows a vagina and then gives birth to an asteroid. It is quite graphic looking.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It is the beauty of life. Yeah. So some people did kind of have their issue with that, and I thought that he went a bit too far, but I don't know. It kind of makes sense. So this black substance that, they were able to refine is the substance from Prometheus, and the lady who is pregnant did inject herself with it. So it is a little unclear what would happen at that point, but Rook did mention that it would be rapid growth, rapid acceleration. That kind of seems like what we experienced. And then now I'm forgetting. Yeah, and now I'm forgetting her name. But the one who has to commit her own surgery on herself in Prometheus.
Shaw, Elizabeth Shaw.
Yeah.
Shaw, thank you. Yeah. We get a lot of vibes like that, and then there's also kind of the whole Ripley in Resurrection, if you will. There's a lot of kind of callbacks to this.
The birth scene in this is wicked. It is intense.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah. It's very close to the newborn in Resurrection as well. It's kind of interesting. It takes a lot of what I don't like about that, which is one of the crazier scenes. But sorry, I did not mean to talk over that amazing comment.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It feels like they really are kind of calling back to that one from Resurrection, but in a different Prometheus
and
way.
like repairing it, and I don't know, maybe just putting a different head on things. Forgive the
literally. They change one creepy face for another, and it kind of works a little bit more for me.
And yes, Lindsay, what were you going to say about its privates? That it has a triangular.
I don't know what that thing. It was like a hole, but like also like an insertion port for like the back of a computer. Like I didn't know what I was looking at.
It was a European AC/DC plug.
There you go.
Well, that's also kind of a callback to Resurrection. Now I'm blanking on his name, but the French director. He said that he even went too far on that newborn creature, that it even disturbed a Frenchman. So it's kind of a callback to that. They did have to like kind of pixelate that and change that at the end. But yeah, that is kind of, it feels like that's also kind of a callback to Resurrection in so many different ways. But man, there's so many kind of, it works on so many levels for me in this thing. But I can understand why people don't like it. There's also elements of kind of splice in the way that this creature is kind of, I don't know, standing. Which was inspired by the xenomorphs. So it's weird, kind of full circle inspiration.
Did you guys get a number, if not a abortion allegory in some of this portion of the movie?
Not really.
I could see it.
Yeah,
That isn't where I went with it, but
okay.
I could see it.
Unwanted pregnancy, and when the engineer morph, it doesn't look like it looks like it's trying to bond or something with its mother,
Mhm.
and she's pulling
Yes.
away from it, and it's really
Well, her
it's just
first actions are her first words about it or something was like,
get it
"Get
away
it
from
out
me.
of here,
Yeah,
get it away from me." Yeah. So
kind of a
you're right,
fascinating
and
scene.
and they also kind of play with that in Resurrection, kind of like Alien Freak was talking about, where the smile that the newborn kind of gives Ripley right before she cuts her own blood and throws it on the window. Just man, that is kind of creepy. But I get a lot of that same vibes from this engineer morph, whatever this one is going to end up being called.
I can't
Just
wait for the
yeah,
name for
you're
this
right.
thing.
It's the kind of looking for mother type deal,
Yeah,
and it's very interesting. But yeah, I can see what you're talking about. That wasn't necessarily where my mind went, but I can kind of see the unwanted child thing.
right, and you brought something up that I didn't even mention, the get it away from me. There's just one, maybe two, perhaps even three moments where it's just like, oh, this feels a little parallel to something, but maybe it's just me looking into things. But I mean, these movies, these old school ones, are always got something with motherhood, and I would say it's very similar this time around, but just with a different twist, or at least I perceived it as such.
I really liked it.
Yeah. There's something about
So
that
then,
smile too when it's standing there with like the engineer face, but like the
It's a
alien
weird teeth
teeth.
thing, yeah.
It was all kinds of not okay, but I loved it for it.
It's all full of gums too. Just
Yeah.
yeah, and I guess we haven't talked about the tongue jaw thing yet.
oh,
It's
the tongue with the
double.
mouth.
Yeah. Also interesting, and yeah, it seemed like it was definitely looking for something from its mother. I'm not sure if it was to feed or to be
Oh,
comforted or what, but it looked as if she did reach down to her breast at one point and then came up with the goo. At least the goo came from somewhere. So I'm not sure if
oh,
that's from the injection, like she was.
maybe her
I
breast,
don't know exactly.
her breast
And they
milk
kind of.
goo.
It seems like it, but they
She
kind of
reached
give
into her
this one
shirt.
shot.
Yeah.
They kind of get this one shot that makes it seem like she might turn or like the goo might have affected her, but we never really get to see that played out or anything like
Yeah,
that. Instead, it looks like the engineer morph goes after her, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Andy had been decommissioned because he was damaged, so he was recharging or something. So he was down. So we're basically just down to Kaylee Spaney and this thing. So interesting. Uh, so yeah, what did you think of the final battle? Was it too reminiscent of other ones to you, or did it feel like there was actually some new ground with this one? There is an airlock involved as well, which 1 and 2 also had the airlocks.
There is. I also did like the answer to the acid eating through the ship of just like, oh, there's just like a bunch of sand down there, and so the acid, like it eats through some of the sand, but it can't get all through. I don't know. I thought that was cute. And it is definitely similar to the original, but there's something about that shot of her hanging below the ship with like the ring below her and the Romulus station behind her, like exploding. Like that was a gorgeous freaking shot, man.
that jump scare too
Oh yeah.
is probably the scariest thing, oddly enough, in the entire franchise, because it's such
There's
like a gimmicky jump scare, but it's done so well.
hmm And there's like 2 other things that I probably should have mentioned that I totally glossed over. The suit that she wears, so amazing. Like again, it's very reminiscent to
Alien.
Sigourney Weaver's in her
Yep.
underwear, so she has to get into the suit. But this time when Kaylee Spaney does it, like just the practical on it is so amazing. The way that it like just kind of mashes down to like her size gives me real like Back to the Future 2 like future shoes vibes. It just like vacuum seals to her once it's actually working. But the other thing is the classic alien shot that's in every one of the movies where you're seeing Kaylee Spaney in the foreground. She's trying to hit the 4 levers to drop the box of sand, and then you see it drop down behind her.
Mhm.
I just thought that was so beautiful in this one,
agree.
even with it being the Promethomorph, whatever you want to call it, engineeramorph. Just man, that was just beautiful to see it do that same like silent fall behind her and just totally have the drop on her.
Yeah.
And then
all about it.
we get the classic ending of just shoot it out the airlock, so to speak. But it's a fun twist. The vagina melon football. What were you calling it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah. That's full of acid.
The
that's
eggshell
now also
thing that was whatever the fuck.
The placenta or whatnot.
Weird.
The egg placenta, the egg slenta.
And then I think we also glossed over some more body horror where Kaylee Spaney, like with her bare hands, has to bust the umbilical cord before she can.
Oh yeah,
run away from it. There's some good stuff in here, man. A lot of them are really quick effects, but so practical and so creepy. I dig it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm again the fact that Prometheus was my third favorite Alien movie. So the fact that it didn't feel too ridiculous for me really made me appreciate this rather well. And it perhaps to its detriment, it paid homage to the franchise in various ways. And I really appreciated that. I guess the one gripe that I've heard people like generically say that I can kind of understand and maybe I can get to that at some point is it doesn't really give us anything new. And
I don't know, man. I feel like it does. It ties together Prometheus and marries it pretty well to this franchise, where I think they were pretty separate. I think it expands on a lot of lore in a good way, but I guess I can understand. But I think each one of these films has added their own things, and I think this did add a bunch of it, like the heat vision to the face huggers. I think it adds like a lot of this stuff to it. Now we get, I guess it was called The Child in the other one. Now we get to see this actual thing. Like that seems to me like it is something new. We get that Weyland-Yutani is this horrible company that is essentially producing this thing for immortality. I don't know. I'm kind of digging this, that Rook is looking for the perfect worker or something. It might be this thing, even though I don't know how you tell it's objective. I don't know that it's going to stay in the minds.
That's what the company runs, right? The perfect worker that they could just have be down there and ad infinitum. Like that was an interesting kind of thing that was kind of running throughout the movie. I thought, like, we're here, or our characters are here, just being chewed up and spit out by the corporation. But at the same time, they're on this ship trying to steal stuff so that they can live happily ever after. But in the process of doing that, they're leaving Andy behind. So they're chewing up and spitting out Andy. So like this whole movie is about people chewing up and spitting people out, getting what they need from them and moving on. And it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting way to look at capitalism in the far-flung future.
Isn't there like a bizarre irony to it too, considering that another reason to appreciate Prometheus, Weyland created these things so that he could live longer.
Yeah.
And they're like doing his bidding even after he's dead. And it's just ironic that they're doing things for a business that didn't really give a shit about what their best interests were, although they're fucking robots. That's pretty robot-cist. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what I keep seeing is this film is essentially The Force Awakens. Do you view it as on that level? Does it seem more... So that one also got a lot of the same criticisms as this. I guess let's just start with that. Do you see it as The Force Awakens, but for the Aliens franchise?
I see it as Rogue One for the Aliens franchise, but I love The Force Awakens, so you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, you're pretty there.
Fair enough.
It sort of is. But I feel like it also does enough of its own thing in the beginning to make it kind of stand out. Where Force Awakens pretty quickly developed into a rehash of A New Hope. I feel like maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty much
Thematically, I don't know if Romulus does things the same,
Mhm.
because Force Awakens has the same story beats. Romulus,
Yeah.
not completely.
Yeah, it's not exactly space truckers find this thing,
Yeah.
get infected.
Like I said,
Fair enough.
the first act, the way it's sets up, reminds me a lot of Elysium, because
I
they're
can see that.
really poor people who are trying to do something illegal for the sake of living.
Yeah. It's very relatable.
Okay. Well, the other two criticisms that I've seen, which are the same ones that I saw for Force Awakens, were essentially it's just a fan film. Obviously, it would be a high budget fan film, but
it's my clickbait title for my review, so I definitely feel it. I definitely understand it, but it's not really. I don't think it's
for
a negative.
fans.
Oh,
but
sure.
I don't know, like it doesn't. To me, like a fan film generally doesn't have like the greatest acting or anything like that, but you can feel like the passion behind it. Like
Yeah.
it.
But
to me, this isn't that. But fair enough.
If this movie did not have "Get Away from Her, You Bitch," I could understand that argument. But because of Ian Holm, because of "Get Away from Her, You Bitch," for my sake,
Okay.
because of Engineer Morph, I think it is very fan servicey. And
Okay.
I don't think of that as a negative, but I can understand somebody thinking of that as a negative.
So along those lines is that they're saying that it's only playing the Aliens hits. Do you see that? Okay.
Again, I feel like it gets close to that, but it does do enough of its own thing to kind of stand out, or at least I feel like it does. Maybe I just really like Andy as a character, and that's willing to like he's so different than any other android that we've seen that he really makes me want to give
He's
things
a very
pass.
good hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one that I saw that they were also given to Force Awakens is it's basically just a cover band doing the playing the hits or whatever, and then adding few originals into the mix. Do you see this as just a cover band? Like they are doing references and kind of homages to all of them, but I don't know. Do you see more truth behind that one?
Ask the question one more time. Actually, I'm sorry.
Really well put together cover band.
Oh,
yeah, that it's a cover band essentially. They're just doing like the Aliens hits, so to speak.
Yeah, but I also feel like they're like introducing in a saxophone that wasn't there before or something like that. So it's like so instead of just being like rock, it's like ska now. So it's got like a little bit of its own identity or something.
So maybe I'm biased in this, but exactly what Charles is saying, like yes, but it'd have to be a really good one. Exactly like you're saying, like yeah, but they're adding these other elements to like fill it out. I think it's not really a cover band. Like anybody could be in a cover band. Like just four dads like who can barely make their way through can be a cover band. Like anyone could do that. This is like a symphonic rendition. This is like when the symphony goes and plays the classics. Like this is a different version of it. It's more fleshed out. It's more full. It's very polished.
I'm in a 98-piece No Doubt cover band.
So I don't know. I kind of see it. If you're going to go along those lines, like okay, but it's not some regular cover band. To me, it's like the symphonic rendition or an orchestra playing the classics. Like it's like yes, this is great. Like it's fun when they're throwing in Led Zeppelin all of a sudden. Like okay, but it's really fun to see them do it. It's not just a cover.
Yeah, like
maybe I'm wrong.
Covering the Beatles or something. It's like okay, that's interesting.
So Alien Freak is mentioning that a lot of the characters did seem reminiscent of Don't Breathe to me or to him. You're right. I kind of get that too, but it feels like that's the homage to him. That's Fede Alvarez bringing that to it.
Attributing himself.
Nothing wrong with that. A little self-tribute.
So do we have anything else to add?
I can understand why people have a problem with this, but I think it's probably the same people who have a problem with Alien 3, who have a problem with Alien 4, who have a problem with Prometheus. If you didn't like Prometheus, I can totally understand why you're not going to like this one. But
especially the last 20 minutes or so.
I really dig it. I feel like he hit all the right notes for this. Again, if you're going to call it a cover band, I think it's one of the most impressive covers I've ever seen. If this is a fan film, it's glorious, man. I don't know. I'm a sim for this franchise, so maybe that's just me.
See, I really need to see it again, but as of right now, I have it as 4 stars.
Yeah, I mean, like there's things, there's observations to make about it, comments to comment, but like it's in general, like it's just extremely well made with very, very likable characters. It's gorgeous to look at. The sound design is immaculate. It's a good goddamn movie. Like, is it incredible? Yeah, I'd say so. Others might not. Will it bounce some people off with that 4th act? Oh, you bet your sweet ass it will. But also, like, that's part of the fun of it. Like, it's cool.
Listen, if I can get an engineer with a trigina in all of my movies, I will take it.
They prefer Trigina.
Yeah. I think I would also put it at like a 4. And that seems close to what the audience is doing. I guess like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like an 81% certified fresh. So somewhere around there.
Impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. And the audience score is 86. So, they seem to be enjoying it. But this is only, 3 days of it or something
The
like that.
cast is so diverse.
True.
Oh yeah, wait. This movie went woke. It's got to go broke. Sorry, everyone, get your money back. This isn't allowed to be successful.
#, where the white people? Am I right?
God,
am I right?
But I can understand why a lot of people don't like it. But yeah, and I don't know. I'm just really happy with it. I feel like they got somebody who actually loves the franchise to do the next version of it, and I feel like he actually understood what was going on.
Oh yeah.
That is definitely true. Fede definitely does seem to love the things that he makes. Like, this is like he's not a gun for hire. Like, he's out there, like, taking risks and making swings.
Dude, if you told me tomorrow that he's restarting over Friday the 13th, I'm genuinely excited. The fucking guy handles things with extreme care, and I mean, the thing I've seen around lately on Twitter is Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm okay with that idea too.
I'd be down with that.
And they tried it and it did not get off the ground without Robert Englund, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see his take on it. I think he could do it.
Yeah, I officially trust his judgment at this point.
I'm also seeing people calling for Prey versus Alien Romulus, Alien versus Prey. No, I know, it's so stupid, but
Come on.
Well, we are getting the TV series sometime soon.
Really?
Whatever that one is, like Alien Earth or something.
What is that? Is that Scott as well? Or is that?
I want to say he's involved, but it might just be like Scott-free production involved. I'm not exactly sure. I need to look more at that one. I was kind of trying to stay away from it, all the spoilers for this, for that, for everything. But I'm interested, man. Like, it's really getting me way more interested in this.
Alien Fest. You're preaching to the choir here. I'd be down for him finishing the Prometheus trilogy, honestly.
For sure.
I agree.
I'd be down with that.
Just go back to Prometheus stuff, please, and try not to please the Alien fans. I'd like a third movie that's like Prometheus, and less a third movie that's like Covenant. But
Yeah,
I agree.
we're gonna. I mean, Disney's gonna
McBride,
definitely
though.
give us, if anything, a Covenant more than a Prometheus. I have a feeling, because it's Disney. But who knows? Who knows?
What was that, Greg?
But Danny McBride, though. So I think we're good.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Yeah, wait, he lived, didn't he? Well, I mean, he probably had one.
In my
Lived.
heart, he always does.
Something horrible definitely happened to him while he was in cryo sleep, but he made it to that cryo sleep.
He apparently wants to co-direct with the director of Prey on Alien vs. Predator movie.
It would be cool to have somebody who actually like gave a crap about that. No AVP Requiem or whatever. Good times.
That'd be interesting.
So they'd get lights, is what you're saying.
Maybe. I don't know. I love both of the franchises. I really hated every entry of the combination of them, but we'll see. Maybe it could be good.
I won't defend, but I'll also not complain if somebody puts AVP on. Requiem, I don't know if there's...
That first one's fun, but man.
It's silly. It's dumb. Sure. It's not a good fun. It's just fun.
I mean, what's funny is, like, the first AVP, like, it's so similar to what Prometheus ended up being like 10 years later. Like, it's so similar. Like,
Wait,
I'm
what?
not saying Ridley
It's-
Scott borrowed from it, but like, it's, you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. We could spoil those movies. It's fine.
No, they get the signal and they need to go and investigate it. And there's like the team, and there's the supposed head of Wayland Yutani is there and part of the expedition and talking to them and giving them orders. Like, it's not the same movie, but there's kind of strikingly similar in an odd way.
I think it's missing a lot of the themes that Ridley wanted to like kind of tackle, the whole like
100%,
creation and all that stuff. But I see what you mean. Like, it does have similarities.
It's an invitation.
I think they've had a whole bunch of these scripts like kind of kicking around though that they all kind of took inspiration from. There's been so many different iterations of, well, Alien 3 went through like, I don't know, 6 different versions of it. At one time, Hicks was going to be in cryosleep the whole time, and then Sigourney was going to be in cryosleep the whole time. Like, it's just so many different ones.
I'm sorry. Dice, we're not watching another piece of Drek movie until you watch at least Prometheus. What the fuck? You've only seen 2 aliens. Not cool. Not cool. I'm watching all of the Hellscaper series while Dice hasn't even watched more than 2 aliens.
Boom.
Well, how many Phantasms have you seen?
All of them. All of them.
Okay.
It's time to get reparations. That's all I'm going to say. Requiem would be a little better if we could have seen Praetorian better lighting or anything else in better lighting.
There's fun ideas. Like, who doesn't want to see a Praetorian? But yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that they were even using practical effects in a lot of that. I probably should go back to those. I just remember not liking them. But fair enough.
Yeah,
I just gotta write those
why
off.
they made those darker. Like, was it because like the special effects, or was it just like a decision that they made on set and it just didn't pan out? I would love to hear the directors talk about that.
I'm okay with a couple of Predators movies, multi.
That's for sure. Okay.
I don't know why. I like the new Predators more than I like Predator 2. So I'm the wrong person to complain to.
I feel like I'm one of the only people that likes Predator 2 sometimes. Like, it's not incredible, but like, it's okay, you know?
I mean,
It's
Danny
fun.
Glover. How do you go wrong with that? And then you got some really fun Busey in it.
Oh yeah, some great Busey in that movie.
I don't hate it. It's where you first find the xenomorph skull on their ship. Like, that's what kept the ball rolling. It was great.
Lindsay, did you give a star score for Romulus? Out of 5? Wow, that hard, huh?
28 out of 5.
It's fair.
Or
Seems
4.2. Or 3.6.
Getting worse.
1.0? Somewhere between there.
Wow.
On a scale of
3.9.
On a scale of 0 to the mousetrap.
Oh, this is like 12 mousetraps if Mousetrap knew what it was doing. Oh! Bow, 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 bow,
I don't know if that's an
bow,
insult or not. 12 mousetraps. That's like a Madam Web.
Hey, Madam Web.
Wow.
Shots fired all over. Everybody's catching strays today. Woo! All right. Well, if anybody has anything they want to contribute, we'll field the chat for a minute or two, and then we'll bid you adieu. See, we did this.
Sure.
I mean, thank you to Gray, because Gray basically summarized the entire fucking plot, start to finish.
We don't deserve it.
Yes, I'm glad I watched it a second time, but I don't know. There's just so many fun little scenes and little callbacks in there. And I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of them. Just kind of going off the top of the noodle, but thanks.
And we're still a third of a distance of an EFAP episode, so kind of impressive, if I do say so.
What is EFAP? I know who's behind
it's not
it.
what you think it is.
But yeah. What does it stand behind? It's not every frame of painting. It's
every
like
frame
what?
of pause.
Hey, it's objective, man. It's hard to argue with it.
Yeah, but if they're going to pause 24 seconds, 24 times a second, 60 times
Careful. You're using math now.
Oh my god, it's just like no wonder those episodes are like 10 hours long. I mean, I'm assuming they don't literally pause every frame, but like,
And they talk
Well, they
about,
got some visuals behind them.
yeah, they don't talk about visuals. They talk about script. So the whole every frame, it like it's ironically named
right.
because
Well,
they don't talk about visuals nearly as much as script work.
well, I'm assuming they just talk about it's like for every 20 minutes where they don't talk about Brie Larson, they spend an hour talking about Brie Larson, right? Like,
No, I don't think that you're mixing up your um I don't know what would you call them, grifters? They're not grifters. That it different
Fan
different.
bases. I don't think they have the obsession with the Brie
Yeah.
Larson thing. I don't think they appreciated the film, but it was mainly like the characterization. Like, how come she just assaults this guy out of nowhere? Like, it does seem to be like legitimate ones when they talked about her, but they don't seem to have the obsession that some of those guys do.
You're thinking of the
From what
quarter.
I understand,
The quarter.
that dude has made a million videos on her. I think he even got a like season. I don't know.
a
Never
season
mind, I'm
assist?
spreading
That'd be
rumors.
amazing.
I could be wrong. I just know like it seemed like it was near harassment. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Maybe
Whoa.
he just stopped covering her. I don't know.
It is always funny to me when celebrities
I know
actually
nothing. I should have
acknowledge
not
like
said
the
it.
weird people online that hate them. Like Grace Randolph got called out by Jessica Chastain one time. That was pretty great.
Wait, what's going on?
We don't need to get into it too much, but Grace Randolph likes to say mean things about Jessica Chastain, and Jessica Chastain was once asked about what do you think about people who say weird things about you online. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she worded it in a way that it was definitely Grace Randolph that she was talking about, where she's like, look, I wish nothing but the best for them and happiness. And it's just like, oh, shot after shot. It was amazing.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
Anyway, yeah, sorry, off topic. The Jeremy Johns, how's that guy doing these days? Anyone still watch Jeremy Johns?
He still does the same thing. If anybody stayed true to their roots, it's been Jeremy Johns.
Which is true. Honestly, I kind of respect it. It's been a while since I've watched any of his stuff, but like a couple times a year, I pop in and just be like, "Oh, what's going on over here?"
He's still at it, man. It's it appears to be quality. He's got a thing that he's just he's got a formula that seems to be working.
Yeah, I respect the not chasing the algo.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep doing the same shit. Fuck it.
It seems to be working, man.
Right on.
I don't know. He's getting way less backlash than say some of the other ones who have chased the algorithm a lot more.
There you go.
But fair
And
enough.
Stuckman's going in the other direction.
He's
Yeah,
a full filmmaker now, right?
he's a filmmaker. Yeah, he gave up the criticism game, but he loved this film. I happened to see that. So,
Oh, was it good?
He's got a correct opinion on this one for sure.
He's right.
He's celebrating this one.
He's right.
Yeah, that's what he does.
I'm trying to think if the rest of the Autopsy gang has seen it. Oh, Brian Lomax did, and he did enjoy it. Cody did. He
Didn't or
did and
oh,
did.
nice.
And I think
Yeah, I saw Cody did, and I think a lot of my opinions are very similar to what Cody was saying on it.
Mm-hmm.
I invited Luke of Razor Wire Reviews to join us because he didn't have a good time, and just for
He
the sake
really
of,
didn't like it.
yeah, I'm dying to have like a discussion to hear. He's got a very soft spot in his heart for aliens. Like it's a lot of things, nostalgia and a whole bunch of extra stuff. So it would have been interesting to hear his gripes, but it's like 7 a.m. over there.
Yeah, I've been trying to hear a lot of people's takes on it, and I get it. Like, there's some people for them 1 and 2 are the only ones that exist, and if you kind of feel that way, yeah, this is going to have a lot in it that you'll hate, I think. But
oh, so Marty's a big alien guy too, and he wasn't a fan of Romulus. Interesting, really interesting. Can't win for winning.
for sure, I'm definitely interested in hearing people's criticisms of it, but
Right.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of it has not been quite as fair as they could be. But,
Right. What I will do, patrons of my channel have seen me notes and stuff I take during a second viewing. I will, if and when I watch Romulus again, I'll be sure to take iPad notes, and you guys can look at those.
Hell yeah.
but there'll be spoilers, so for what it's worth. What do you got coming up? Unless we're just seeing each other again in 2 days. Homer?
But yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna see each other in 2 days. But I've been powering out a bunch of shorts this week, just kind of for fun, trying to get a good handle on the format. I've put out 4 videos, technically 5. One of them did not do well at all and got dislike bombed to hell, so I took it down.
Ooh.
But hey, I put out 5 videos this week. Go check out my channel. They're shorts, but hey, they're still pretty good.
Hey, and interaction is
yeah.
interaction.
This is true. This is very true.
Take it.
Except for when after an hour the videos had 60% dislikes. I'm like, oh, let's just
Wow.
Hey,
that one. No
it's
one needs to ever
polarizing.
see that one again.
Still, it's causing feedback.
This is true. This is true.
Chatter jar. What do you got?
Yeah. So hopefully a working camera next time.
Mhm.
But yeah, supposedly I'm a YouTuber. I'm working on some videos. It's just taking way longer than I thought to get them out. So yeah, if you come over to my channel, there will be videos eventually. But yeah, if you can't wait till then, come over and join me and Charles every Sunday morning. Charles is usually there. Sometimes he's not.
I should be there
Sometimes I'm not there. But go over to Rosales Comics or at Rosales Comics on YouTube and come to the Super Sunday wrap up. You get to hear news, entertainment, sometimes wrestling, sometimes not. Yeah, it's fun. A lot of familiar faces are there and good times. And then beyond that, every Thursday, go to That Darn Kidda's channel for the Thinkers. Charles also joins us there. But yeah, that's about all I got going on. Other than the fun stuff on Charles's channel. But yeah, good times.
So to those of you who ask, the ever so delayed and waited for episode of the 31 on 31 debrief for comedy is going to be on Cody Leach's channel tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Hell yeah.
And we'll have that, and obviously I'll be there, and we'll see you. Man, busy week. We'll see you Monday for Shobes, where we're going to talk about the upcoming Crow movie.
Or not. We could just pretend like it doesn't exist.
What? Strange Darling comes out next week too. So yeah. We won't be spoiling this movie. Obviously, we'll punch you here on Monday. But thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to people who joined in. Good to see some people. Alien Freak 95. Looked like you knew your stuff. So congrats.
Hell yeah.
Until next time.
Thank you for your assistance.
Seriously, buddy. Appreciate you.
Say goodnight, everyone.